Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, or a Revival, Awakening the God-Killing Spear at the Beginning. Chapter 41. The next day, Chu-Yi quietly watched Lysilia wake up, her eyelashes trembling slightly. Chu-Yi sat beside the exquisite wooden bed, watching Lysilia wake up from her dream, and said softly, "Finally woke up, Xiaoxia." Lysilia slowly opened her eyes, and in an instant she saw Chu-Yi's eyes, and a burst of touching emotion surged on her face. "Brother Chu-Yi, why are you?" "Well, come with me, I'll take you to meet someone," Chu-Yi said. After a while, Chu-Yi and Lysilia slowly walked out of the wooden house. Feng Qingyan stood outside the door, like a delicate flower, exuding charming brilliance against the ice and snow. Chu-Yi led Lysilia towards Feng Qingyan with a smile. A warm smile appeared on his face, as if it could resolve all difficulties and uneasiness. "This is Feng Qingyan, Xiaoxia, you will follow her from now on. She will take you to live in the Dragon Kingdom, she will protect you, and no one will bully you in the future." Feng Qingyan looked at Lysilia with a smile, a hint of concern in her eyes. Her smile was like the spring breeze blowing on the face, making people feel peaceful and reassuring, and she said, "You must be Lysilia. From now on, you can follow me." Lysilia nodded happily, her eyes shining with gratitude and trust. "Okay, Sister Feng Qingyan." Her tone was full of expectations and hopes for the future. Farewell to Feng Qingyan and Lysilia. Looking at the fire phoenix dancing in the sky, a complex emotion surged in my heart. Chu-Yi shook his head, throwing away the emotions in his heart, and then directly activated the Kunpeng form, like a bolt of lightning in the sky, flying towards the north at an astonishing speed. As he got closer to the center of the North Pole, a force of ice surged towards Chu-Yi like thunder. The biting chill came over him. His eyes widened and his heart was filled with shock. The ice energy here is so powerful. This is just. If the outer reaches of the Arctic continent reach the core, it will probably be even more terrifying. The power of ice swims in the air like a silver snake, and the condensed ice crystals shine like stars, covering everything around them in the realm of ice and snow. Chu-Yi saw several figures from the Dragon Kingdom in front of him. He narrowed his eyes and fell into deep thought. This is the Arctic continent. Who are they and what is their purpose? He made up his mind and secretly observed from the sky. "Stand up." I saw a team of 2 men and 1 woman engaging in a desperate struggle with a huge alien beast on the ice. The body of this behemoth beast is majestic and huge, like a hill. Its hair is as white as snow, reflecting the cold light and exuding a strong aura of majesty. Arctic beast, rank 5 polar bear. A thin man's face was full of nervousness. He reminded urgently, "It's actually a rank 5 polar bear. Run." But the woman next to her stood steadily, staring at the polar bear firmly. She took a deep breath, and a powerful energy burst out from her body, confronting the polar bear, and said firmly, "We must not retreat, we have already once you're here, you can't go back. We have been exploring the Arctic in the past few years and we cannot give up so easily." Another man said excitedly, "That's right. Our exploration of the Arctic has not made any progress over the years, and now we have to fight this strange beast." Immediately afterwards, the 3 of them fell into a fierce confrontation with the rank 5 polar bear. This huge polar bear had a mighty figure, and its entire body was covered with a layer of thick and tough snow-white fur, like an insurmountable fortress. The woman holds a long sword in her hand and uses her powers, Dance of the Wind, open. The speed becomes extremely fast in an instant, and she swings wildly. The 2 men released their powers at the same time, gathering them between their palms to form a blazing beam of light, shooting directly at the rank 5 polar bear. The battle lasted for a long time, but the 3 of them were still unable to break through the impenetrable defense. The battle became extremely difficult. One of the thin men had been injured in the battle, with a huge scratch on his chest and blood flowing all over his body. The man said anxiously to the thin man, "Xiaoyi, how are you?" "It doesn't matter," he said with a weak breath. "I'm about to die. Brother Da Zhuang, Sister Qianchen, please leave quickly. This rank 5 polar bear's defense is too high, and we can't break through its defense at all." At this moment, Chu-Yi glanced at the scene in front of him, frowning slightly, with a very puzzled expression. It's so strange that these 3 people, so weak, dare to set foot in the Arctic. He sighed secretly in his heart and couldn't help but shake his head. Chu-Yi did not intend to stand idly by. After all, as a fellow citizen of the Dragon Kingdom and a person with a strong sense of mission, he decided to give them some help. For the sake of our compatriots, I will help you, Chu Yi whispered to himself. Above the sky, Chu Yi transformed into a god-killing spear. He gripped the handle of the gun tightly, turned his body rapidly, and then swung it out. The god-killing spear was like a bolt of black lightning, instantly piercing the sky and quickly penetrating the ice below. There was a loud bang, and ice dust flew everywhere, pinning the rank 5 polar bear in place, making it unable to move. Haha, from now on this move will be called killing gods with 100 steps. Chu Yi was satisfied. At this moment, the 3 people below looked at the rank 5 polar bear nailed to the ice with the god-killing gun, dumbfounded. The woman named Qianshan said in shock, "How is it possible? This is a rank 5 polar bear, and its defense is comparable to a rank 6 beast. It's unexpected. Can kill with 1 strike. Who is it?" Suddenly, Chu Yi fell from the sky and stood in front of the 3 people. At this moment, his long green and black hair was hanging messily on his shoulders. His eyes were unwavering, as if no one could see through his mind. The Kunpeng armor seemed to be made from heaven and earth. It is condensed in space, emitting light blue-black energy, which is extremely weird. The woman reacted after being shocked, and quickly raised her hands to Chu Yi and said, "Thank you, senior, for the rescue. I am Ling Qianshan. The 2 people next to me are Niu Dazhuang and Chen Xiaoyi. We are junior students at Deep Sea College." Chu Yi waved his hand and said, "You are actually students of Deep Sea College, but I don't think this Chen Xiaoyi can last long." Ling Qianshan looked sad and said, "It's all my fault. I hurt him. I shouldn't have acted rashly." Chu Yi walked up to Chen Xiaoyi, stretched out his hand, and a strong life force poured into Chen Xiaoyi's body like a tide, instantly eliminating the scratches on his chest, as if it had never existed before. Ling Qianshan was shocked when she saw such a shocking scene. Could this be the power of life? Chu Yi's eyes remained calm, and he asked the 3 of them softly, "Okay, now we can talk about business. Why do you want to come to Arctic continent?" The 3 of them were hesitant at this moment, and there was a feeling of hesitation in their hearts. However, Ling Qianshan finally plucked up the courage and spoke resolutely, "I heard that Arctic continent contains secrets that can greatly increase people's strength, and there are even more people gathered there. It is a rare treasure in the world. A few of us have been exploring the Arctic 3 years ago. Unfortunately, we still haven't found any clues." "I see, you better go. Arctic continent is an extremely dangerous place, and it is not a place you should come to." After Chu Yi said that, he spread his wings and flew high, flying quickly towards the depths of Arctic continent. His figure was boundless. They drifted further and further into the endless ice and snow, paying no attention to these 3 people. Ling Qianshan looked at Chu Yi's back in the sky and couldn't help calling out loudly, "Excuse me, my benefactor, can you tell me your name?" "Chu Yi." The deep voice echoed in the air, blowing in the wind. At this moment, Chu Yi had already set foot in the inner circle of Arctic continent. The air was freezing and the biting cold wind condensed his breath into white frost. He looked around. The endless white snow covered the earth, like a pure and flawless world. The ice, snow and cold breath intertwined to form a vast and mysterious landscape. Chu Yi couldn't help but marvel. Cultivating ice attribute powers in this ice and snow world will definitely get twice the result with half the effort. He took a deep breath of cold air, and the energy in his body seemed to be activated. The ice attribute energy gathered around him, forming a strong and rich aura. The cold Arctic continent seemed to have become his training ground. The purity of ice and snow combined with the richness of ice energy made Chu Yi feel extremely comfortable and light. The power of ice and snow penetrated into every part of his body, making his body tougher. The cold energy flowed through his meridians, making him feel an unprecedented sense of relief. Chu Yi's ice attribute abilities were gradually improved and perfected. He said to himself, "This Arctic is such a good place." For some reason, Chu Yi's thoughts were tumbling. He thought of the homeless people in the Dragon Country wasteland, who faced despair and suffering every day. Thinking of those helpless eyes, he knew he couldn't just sit back and watch. Regardless, he had to act. His thoughts were racing like a storm, and feasible plans came to his mind. But at this moment, a deafening boom sound pierced the quiet air, and then, a huge and mammoth white bear pounced on him like lightning. He widened his eyes and looked at the behemoth in front of him in disbelief, a rank 8 polar bear. I actually met a rank 8 polar bear. I saw the rank 8 polar bear roaring, mouthing human words, "Human, get out of the North Pole. This is not a place for you." Chu Yi instantly transformed into the god-killing spear. At this moment, he was not panicked because he possessed evil spirit. From the beginning to now, evil spirit has never let him down. As long as the evil spirit can enter the enemy's body, the enemy will die. He raised his eyebrows and said playfully, "Hey, I just wanted to come and bite me if you can." The rank 8 polar bear roared angrily and pounced towards Chu Yi. The rank 8 polar bear was very fast and came to Chu Yi in an instant, slapping its huge bear paws at Chu Yi. "HMPH, I'll try it on you." Chu Yi waved the god-killing gun in his hand and started a fierce battle with the huge rank 8 polar bear. God-killing spear technique. First style, do not use hidden dragon. In an instant, Chu Yi was like a flood dragon lurking in the deep sea. Chu Yi's figure instantly disappeared from the enemy's sight, leaving only an afterimage. Second form, seeing the dragon in the field. Then Chu Yi suddenly appeared, like a dragon standing upright in the field, and the tip of Chu Yi's spear pierced the vital part of the polar bear like lightning. Every attack was accurate, as if he could see every move of the rank 8 polar bear. Third form, all days of heaven and earth. The body shape is like the alternation between the sun and the moon, and it flows freely between offense and defense. Every attack of the rank 8 polar bear will be easily dodged by Chu Yi. Fourth style, or leaping into the abyss. Then Chu Yi suddenly jumped up, like a fish leaping out of the water, and then swooped down instantly. The tip of his spear was like a sharp arrow, thrusting straight into the rank 8 polar bear. 10 minutes, just 10 minutes, the rank 8 polar bear's body was already covered with deep scars, and its blood was permeated with a strong iron smell, but it still showed incomparable majesty and power. Although injured, the rank 8 polar bear still showed no sign of weakness and showed great vitality. The disdainful voice of the rank 8 polar bear sounded. Its voice was low and powerful, as if it contained a kind of disdain and ridicule. "Ha, human, is that all you have?" A mocking smile appeared at the corner of Chu Yi's mouth, and he sneered, "Ha, you stupid bear, let me show you the world today." In an instant, a terrifying dark energy burst out from the body of the rank 8 polar bear, like a black lightning that penetrates the entire body. Rank 8 the polar bear suddenly let out a heart-rending scream. The pain was almost unbearable, and the painful voice echoed in the air, "Human, what on earth have you done to me?" Chu Yi smiled and said, "Don't be nervous, silly bear, I just put a little something in your body. Tell me where the treasures of nature and materials in Arctic are, and I won't kill you." "Human, you want the treasures of the Arctic?" Rank 8 polar bear roared. An angry voice came, "Ha ha ha, then I will tell you, the core area of the Arctic, go. Go, you have no life to enjoy it." Chu Yi looked puzzled and said, "What does it mean to enjoy without my life?" Rank 8 the polar bear roared again, his voice mocking, "All the alien beasts in the Arctic know that the core of the Arctic has unparalleled power, the most powerful in the world, but no alien beast has ever obtained it." After Chu Yi thought for a moment, he said, "That's it, stupid bear, you can go." Ouch! Rank 8 polar bear roared angrily, turned around quickly and fled the scene. What is in the core of the place? Even the rank 8 beasts don't dare to covet it. Chu Yizheng was pondering. He decided to go to the core of the Arctic to see what it is that can be called unparalleled and world-class. The most powerful force in the world. Chu Yi continued to walk towards the core of the North Pole. He walked like this. He didn't know how long he walked. At this moment, he was sure that the temperature here had dropped to a terrifying level. He was a little shocked in his heart. What the hell is this place? If it weren't for my strong vitality, I would have died a long time ago. If it were in the core area, how terrifying it would be. Ordinary superpowers might freeze into ice in an instant. Chu Yi walked slowly towards the core of the North Pole. Primordial origin Wuji Kung Fu was automatically operating in his body, and his ice attribute abilities were constantly increasing. The tree of origin continuously injected into his body, providing him with endless vitality. A trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. The automatic operation of the primordial origin Wujikung was triggered again. The last time was at the ruins of the Atlantis civilization. In this way, Chu-yi moved towards the core of the Arctic with difficulty. After a while, his body had been eroded by the severe cold, and every step was filled with incomparable pain. The cold wind whizzed by, tearing his clothes apart and exposing his skin. His breathing became rapid and strong. Every breath of cold air oppressed his chest like a huge weight. However, Chu-yi had no intention of backing down. He gritted his teeth firmly and endured the torture of the cold. He gritted his teeth and said, "I will definitely be able to do it. I want to become stronger. I want to become stronger." After a long time, Chu-yi saw a huge diamond-shaped crystal standing in the center of the North Pole, exuding terrifying ice power. He walked slowly towards the huge crystal on a piece of ice and snow. Every step seemed to bear the weight of the whole world. He thought that his physique was already very strong, but in the face of such a terrifying cold air, he felt like his blood was going to freeze. At this moment, Chu-yi could no longer speak, his mouth had been frozen, and he was getting closer and closer to the diamond-shaped crystal in the center, just 100 meters away from the crystal. Suddenly, the cold air wrapped tightly around Chu-yi like a devil's claw, gradually solidifying his body, like a statue sculpted by eternal ice. His limbs were stiff, as if they were sealed by ice, unable to move an inch. Impossible, this cold air can even solidify the air. Chu-yi's heart suddenly tightened, and he murmured in disbelief, "What is this?" Chu-yi was struggling desperately in his heart, but the restraint of the ice made him powerless. He could only watch his body gradually being covered by ice and snow, and gradually integrated into this frozen world. It was as if Chu-yi had never existed in this world and was swallowed up by endless ice. His consciousness was extremely clear, but his body seemed to be no longer his. He couldn't help but lament in his heart, "Oh, God is really going to kill me." However, even so, the primordial origin Wujigong in Chu-yi's body is still running automatically, and the power of the tree of origin maintains his weak life. The cold breath was biting to the bone, and a powerful air of ice was wandering in his body. With the independent operation of primordial origin Wuji Kung Fu, his strength was gradually increasing. Just like that, on the first day, Chu-yi's body began to tremble slightly, and the power of ice penetrated into his bone marrow. "This is it. My body automatically began to absorb the power of ice. It's incredible." The next day, the power of ice was like a sharp ice knife, stinging every inch of his skin. On the fifth day, Chu-yi's breathing gradually became difficult, and the power of ice squirmed in his body like a python, wrapping his internal organs tightly. His blood seemed to be frozen, its flow became sluggish, and his body gradually lost its temperature. On the 10th day, Chu-yi's body was completely immersed in the ice, and his muscles were extremely stiff, as if they were carved by ice. His heart beat slowly and rhythmically, as if it wanted to merge with the ice and snow. Great, if this continues, it won't take long for the ice to break through. A month later, Chu-yi's body has been completely dominated by the ice air, and his skin is pale in color, revealing a glimmer of icy light seemed to be the incarnation of Arctic ice and snow, and the air of ice swirled around him. Suddenly, Chu-yi opened his eyes, and an ultimate ice attribute burst out. The surrounding ice shattered in response. "Ha ha ha, primordial origin Wujigong has broken through to the 4th level. It's true that God will never destroy me, Chu-yi." Chu-yi laughed crazily, then his face condensed, and he said in a deep voice, "Just let me see, you are like this. What on earth is the Arctic core?" He slowly moved towards the huge diamond-shaped crystal, exuding endless ice power. When he walked to the crystal, stared at the behemoth, and whispered to himself, "This is just a crystal that exudes the terrifying power of ice. It doesn't seem to have anything special. Is this the most powerful power in the world? That stupid bear won't lie to me, right?" Chu-yi couldn't help but place his hand gently on the huge ice crystal. Suddenly, a sudden change occurred, and the entire crystal began to emit a dazzling light, accompanied by endless ice energy, pouring into the center of Chu-yi's eyebrows like a waterfall. The cold force stung his nerves like needlepoints, almost making him unable to breathe. "It hurts, what the hell is this?" Chu-yi cursed secretly. He endured the pain with difficulty, as if he had gone through a long period of suffering, and time finally passed. Gradually, the pain subsided, and he finally breathed a sigh of relief. "Hoo-hoo, I'm scared to death. This North Pole is too dangerous. But it's also the fastest way to gain power. Wealth and honor were sought in danger. At this moment, Chu Yi's body was exuding strong ice power. He was surprised to find that bright ice lines appeared on his forehead, as if an ice dragon was swimming. The ice patterns are as transparent as crystal, but they exude a heart-stopping chill. They are crisscrossed like an ancient and mysterious pattern, seeming to connect the power of ice between heaven and earth. However, in an instant, Chu Yi put away his ice power, and the ice patterns on his forehead instantly dissipated, as if they had never appeared before, leaving no trace. He said to himself, "This is so powerful, the power of ice. Is this the most powerful power in the world? It's interesting. Then I'll call you the power of extreme ice." Then, he thought depressedly, but the realm of superpowers still remains. In rank 4, if it weren't for the interference from the tree of origin, I would have been ranked 5 or even 6. Forget it, let's study this new power first. Then Chu Yi began to study the power of extreme ice, and time passed slowly like this. An hour later, his eyes flashed with light. It's time to see what big things happened in the outside world. The dogs of the Japanese country are waiting for me. Then he continued to move quickly towards the outside world. When he was about to leave the core area of the Arctic, a group of Arctic beasts suddenly appeared in front of him. Each of these strange beasts has reached rank 8, and there are 100 strange beasts. Rank 8. The polar bear let out a thunderous roar and said to Chu Yi, "Human, have you obtained the power of the Arctic core?" Chu Yi replied calmly, "Yes, what can you do?" As soon as he finished speaking, a group of rank 8 Arctic beasts roared in unison, all speaking human words, "We are willing to be loyal to you and regard you as our king." Chu Yi was confused. What was going on? He asked doubtfully, "Why do you want me to be your king?" Rank 8 polar bear replied, "We can feel the breath on your body. You have obtained the power of the Arctic core. Whoever can obtain the power of the Arctic core will be the king of the Arctic." Chu Yi nodded and said in surprise, "I am a human being, can I be your king? Are you having a brain problem? Whether it's a human or an alien beast, as long as you can obtain the power of the Arctic core, you will be our king." The rank 8 polar bear crawled on the ground, and a respectful voice sounded, "From now on, you are the king of our Arctic." Chu Yi waved his hand and said, "Okay, since I am your king, then you can go down. Everything will continue as usual." "Yes, Ice King." As the alien beasts all left, the surrounding area finally returned to tranquility. Chu Yi doesn't want to be a king, he just wants to improve his strength. He reached out and took out his mobile phone from his space ring, staring at the news channel on the mobile phone screen. Half a month ago, the Bear Nation launched a war against Uzbekistan. It was suspected that Uzbekistan was going to join a so-called military alliance, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which threatened the security of the Bear Nation's capital. The war is like a merciless fire, spreading wantonly. Innocent civilians are involved, blood and death are mercilessly raging. Chu Yi frowned, with a hint of trembling in his voice. This is a real war. These countries, facing strange beasts, still have the heart to start a war. How stupid, how stupid. Do. Chu Yi's cell phone rang suddenly. The ringtone was harsh and urgent. He quickly answered Feng Qingyan's call. "Hey, what's wrong, Feng Qingyan? You still have the nerve to say that I have contacted you for half a month." On the other end of the phone, Feng Qingyan's voice was full of impatience. Her voice was tense and firm. "No more nonsense, the Bear country has launched a war against the Wu country. We, the special forces of the Dragon Kingdom's superpowers, need to be dispatched. We have a mission." Chu Yi's heart moved, and he asked eagerly, "What mission?" "The situation is very complicated." "Where are you now?" Feng Qingyan's voice revealed a trace of anxiety. Chu Yi took a deep breath and replied, "I'm in Arctic continent. I sent you the coordinates. We'll be there soon," Feng Qingyan said and then hung up. An hour later, a clear and melodious phoenix cry suddenly came from the sky, shaking the whole world. Feng Qingyan is wearing a fiery red battle robe, with a peerless appearance, stunning beauty, graceful figure and flawless lines. It was burning like a flame. As its wings flapped, flames splashed out and landed in front of Chu Yi. "Chu Yi, come up quickly. The situation is urgent." Chu Yi quickly jumped on the fire phoenix that Feng Qingyan was riding, stared at her closely, and asked, "What is it that makes you so anxious?" Above the sky, Feng Qingyan and Chu Yi were standing on the fire phoenix. Feng Qingyan's voice revealed firmness and determination, and said, Now, the mission of our Phoenix group is to expose the war between the Shang Kingdom and the Wu Kingdom. The mastermind behind this is the United States. NATO is just an accomplice of the United States, not worth mentioning. Her eyes flashed with a cold light, as if she had seen through the entire situation. The purpose of our trip is to find the federal speaker of the United States and stop her. Chu Yi's eyes widened in surprise, and there was a hint of excitement in his voice. He wanted to kill everyone, and said, "It's actually the United States." Great, great, now I have a chance. Feng Qingyan smiled slightly, stared into Chu Yi's eyes, and slowly said, "Chu Yi, how is your current strength?" "It's easy to kill ordinary rank 8 superpowers." Chu Yi felt proud and said confidently, "But rank 9 is not necessarily the same. I haven't fought against them yet. There are many superpowers in the United States. They are good at researching genetic technology and have given birth to many mutants." Feng Qingyan frowned slightly, with a hint of worry in her tone. "Moreover, there is a powerful rank 9 beside the Speaker of the American Federation. Protection of superpowers. Leave that rank 9 superpower to me when the time comes. Chu Yi, you need to deal with all other superpowers." Chu Yi nodded and said confidently, "Okay. No problem." Feng Qingyan and Chu Yi rode the Fire Phoenix and crossed the sky at a speed that was jaw-dropping. In just 1 hour, they had arrived above the United States Federal Congress. "Who are you?" Suddenly, several soldiers noticed the arrival of Feng Qingyan and Chu Yi, and they looked around alertly. A tall, muscular soldier stepped forward and asked, "Who are you? Retreat quickly, or you will receive a military strike." Feng Qingyan jumped off the Fire Phoenix and said with firm eyes, "We are here to find your federal speaker. Please inform her to come out to see us." When the soldiers heard this, they immediately clenched the guns in their hands and pulled the triggers suddenly. A series of bullets were fired at Feng Qingyan and Chu Yi like an angry rain. HMPH. Chu Yi's eyes sharpened, and he snorted coldly, with a contemptuous smile on his lips, "It's ridiculous. You don't know your own abilities." As soon as he finished speaking, a cold air surged out of his body, and all the bullets were hit by this. The ice-cold power froze in midair, as if time had stopped. "Chu Yi, you actually realize the ice attribute power." Feng Qingyan on the side was surprised. When the soldier saw this situation, he immediately shouted, "The superpowers are coming, the superpowers are coming." In an instant, a group of superpowers emerged around the United States Federal Council, but they were all low-level beings, and the leader was only a rank 7 superpower. The leading superpower stared coldly at Feng Qingyan and Chu Yi, with a disdainful smile on his lips. "Who are you, and what is your purpose here? Leave now, maybe I can spare your lives. How dare you threaten me, just like you trash." Chu Yi couldn't help laughing loudly when he heard this, with a wild smile. The leading superpower's face darkened, his expression of anger undisguised, and his body instantly turned into an indestructible steel barrier. His eyes were cold and he rushed towards Chu Yi without hesitation. Chu Yi's eyes condensed, and the god-killing spear transformed out of thin air in his hand. The tip of the spear exuded a cold light, and seemed to contain endless murderous intent. His voice was full of endless majesty and killing intent, and he roared, "Kill the god in 100 steps." The god-killing spear shot out like an arrow, as fast as lightning. In an instant, there was a loud, bang, sound, and the leading superpower was mercilessly penetrated by the god-killing spear and nailed to the wall. The blood instantly dyed the surrounding air red. Chu Yi looked at the guy who was pinned to the wall so easily. He spread his hands with a strange expression and said in disbelief, "Isn't it? That's it. That's all you have. How dare you say you want to kill me?" Feng Qingyan patted Chu Yi on the shoulder and said, "Don't be shy, hurry up and get rid of the other superpowers." Chu Yi frowned deeply, his eyes full of confusion. "You are so strong. Why don't you go?" His voice was full of inquiry and curiosity, which made Feng Qingyan feel a little embarrassed. Feng Qingyan bit her lip gently and whispered in Chu Yi's ear, "I can't reveal my strength for the time being. I need to wait for the rank 9 superpower to appear." Chu Yi waved his hand and said, Okay, leave these superpowers to me." Seeing Chu Yi's heroic performance, fear has been deeply rooted in the hearts of these low-level superpowers. They dare not approach Chu Yi easily for fear that they will become his next victim. Chu Yi smiled playfully and released the power of extreme ice, an eternity in an instant. In an instant, a powerful cold air spread quickly, like the cold wind of winter whistling by. The power of extreme ice mercilessly enveloped this group of superpowers, and their bodies were instantly frozen into ice sculptures, frozen in eternity at this moment. In the ice sculptures, they have different expressions. Some faces are filled with fear, while others have anger and despair that are still clearly visible under the cold appearance. At this moment, at the gate of the United States Federal Congress, there was only the faint sound of ice breaking in the ice sculpture, like tiny musical notes floating in the air. Chu Yi nodded and said to himself with satisfaction, "Very good, the power is good." Feng Qingyan said solemnly, "Here he comes, I don't know who it will be." Just then, a woman in gorgeous business attire walked out, her golden hair falling like a waterfall on her shoulders. This is Pelosi, the President of the United States Federal Congress, a legendary existence in the United States. It is rumored that she is in her 80s, but her appearance is still incredibly young. Pelosi was followed closely by a sturdy man. He was as tall as a giant, and his blonde hair shone dazzlingly in the sun. He also exudes a faint aura of thunder and lightning. Chu Yi narrowed his eyes slightly, constantly analyzing the situation in front of him, and couldn't help but think in his heart, it seems that Pelosi's power level is not low. She is so young, and the man following her is rank 9 has superpowers. It looks like he is a lightning attribute superpower. I just don't know what his strength is. Chu Yi frowned, his face full of seriousness. Pelosi walked up to them gracefully and asked gently, "Two superpowers from the Dragon Kingdom, is there anything I can do to help?" Chu Yi was quite shocked by Pelosi's indifference. So many of her men had died. She herself could be so calm, which made Chu Yi feel wary of his scheming. Feng Qingyan gritted her teeth and said, "Pelosi, don't you know that the war between the Bear Country and the Black Country has intensified?" Pelosi replied dismissively, "Of course, we in the United States have been working hard to maintain peace and prevent the spread of this war." When Feng Qingyan heard this, she immediately became a little angry. This guy was pretending to be confused, and she gritted her teeth in her heart. This guy is really hateful. It was clearly the United States that started this war behind the scenes, but now they are pretending to be innocent and claiming that they are preventing the escalation of the war. Feng Qingyan couldn't stand this hypocrisy, and suppressed her anger and said, "Speaker of the United States Federal Assembly Pelosi, do you really want a world war? I have already said that our country, the United States, has been working hard to maintain peace, don't you understand?" Pelosi looked indifferent, as if she didn't care about my question. Dragon Kingdom Special Forces with Special Abilities, Phoenix Group Team Leader Feng Qingyan. Feng Qingyan's heart trembled, and a trace of surprise flashed in her eyes. The other party actually knew her identity. Pelosi ignored Feng Qingyan's surprised expression and seemed to be tired of Feng Qingyan's questions. She turned around and signaled to Torso behind her, and said, "Torso, send the two Dragon Kingdom superpowers away." Torso obeyed Pelosi's order and looked at Feng Qingyan and Chu Yi indifferently. "You two, you can leave." His last words were full of threats and murderous intent, "Otherwise, die." "You are Torso, the god of thunder in the United States, the strongest thunder power user in the United States." Feng Qingyan stared at Torso in front of her and said with confidence, "Since Pelosi is responsible for causing the war in the United States, if you turn a blind eye, then the only option is to fight." There was a sneer on Torso's lips, and his eyes showed endless cruelty, and he said, "Since you want to die, then I will make it happen for you." Suddenly, thunder exploded on Torso's body like thunder, and terrifying electric current raged around him, filling him with a frightening aura. This aura of thunder and lightning is like the condensed form of thousands of thunder gods. Its unimaginable power makes people feel frightened. Not to be outdone, Feng Qingyan shouted, "Phoenix form, activate." Instantly, blazing flames erupted all over her body, and her body was wrapped in flames, transforming into a phoenix armor. Against the background of the flames, it shines with dazzling light, as beautiful as if it comes from fairyland. At this moment, thunder and lightning and flames intertwined in the sky. Torso's thunder and lightning tore through the air like a sharp blade, while Feng Qingyan's flames burned with an aura of destruction. Chu Yi watched the battle between the two and exclaimed, "So strong. Is this the true strength of rank 9 superpowers?" Feng Qingyan's gentle but firm voice came from the sky, "Chu Yi, don't let Pelosi leave, you must keep her." Chu Yi nodded slightly, with a firm expression on his face, and said, "Okay. You are the Chuyi who massacred a Japanese city, do you think you can keep me?" Then Pelosi smiled mysteriously. Her eyes were deep and alluring. "Chuyi, I admire you very much. Why don't you join me in the United States? I can give you everything you want. With your strength and talents, power, status, women, and wealth will all be within your reach in our country." Pelosi's voice sounded like the charming floral fragrance quietly penetrated into Chuyi's ears, seducing his heart. Chuyi's heart was like a mirror, unmoved at all, and said, "I have 3 dreams. If you can help me realize them, what if I join you in the United States?" Pelosi smiled happily. She believed that there was nothing in the world that she could not accomplish. Also, no matter how determined a man is, he cannot resist the temptation of power, status, women, and wealth. "Okay, then tell me what 3 dreams you have." Ahem. Chuyi cleared his throat and said, "The first dream, of course, is to destroy the Japanese country." Pelosi nodded reluctantly when he heard this. Japan is just a small country. Chuyi's eyes suddenly became as sharp as a sharp blade, and he continued, "The second dream, of course, is to completely destroy the United States." In an instant, 3 clones suddenly appeared next to Chuyi, exactly like him, the water clone, the wood clone and the ice clone, surrounding the woman Pelosi like phantoms. Each clone exudes powerful energy, making the entire air solidify. Pelosi remained indifferent. She said, "Chuyi, do you want to be my enemy? I am the Speaker of the Federal Congress of the United States. You must think clearly, it is not too late to join our country." "Ha ha ha, ha ha." Chuyi laughed, wildly and arrogantly. "Federal Speaker. What a ridiculous title. It's just a speaker. Who do you think you are? You even joined the United States, and your United States also match." Pelosi felt Chuyi's teasing, and suddenly said with a cold expression, "Come out, everyone, kill Chuyi." In an instant, a dozen people appeared around Chuyi, all of them mutants from the United States. There was a strange aura about them, and a fierce light flashed in their eyes. "Mutants are just a bunch of trash." Chuyi snorted coldly, with disdain in his eyes. With a stern look in his eyes, he instantly transformed into a god-killing gun and rushed towards the surrounding mutants without hesitation. The evil energy emanating from his body surged like a huge wave, and he wildly waved the god-killing spear like the scythe of death, ruthlessly harvesting their lives. "Die, you trash of the United States." Under Chuyi's crazy offensive, the mutants fell down one after another like cutting leeks, completely losing their vitality. When Chuyi was excited about the killing, he suddenly felt that his clone had been killed, and he secretly thought something bad. Oops. That old bitch Pelosi ran away. At this moment, Feng Qingyan in the sky was like a magnificent flame goddess, engaging in a thrilling fierce battle with Torso. Flame and thunder were like 2 violent forces colliding fiercely in the air, bursting out with dazzling light. The burning flames rolled up like a violent wind, dyeing the entire city's sky a blazing red. Thunder and lightning danced wildly in the air, flashing with dazzling light. Each thunder and lightning swam like a giant dragon, tearing the air with a deafening roar. The power of thunder and lightning crisscrossed like electric snakes, shaking the entire city. The power of this battle was so powerful that the residents in the city all looked up in horror. "Kunpeng form, turn on!" Chuyi shouted. The blue-black spiritual power instantly transformed into Kunpeng armor. He reached the sky, scratched his head to express embarrassment, and apologized to Feng Qingyan. "I'm sorry, Sister Qingyan." Pelosi ran away. Feng Qingyan took a deep breath and said, "It's okay, now is not the time to say this. This Torso is very strong, and I can only fight to a draw with him for the time being." Chuyi smiled all over his face and kept thinking about countermeasures. If it was a tie. Yes, in an instant, a brilliant idea flashed through his mind. He walked gently to Feng Qingyan and whispered something to her. "Let's do this, and then do this again. Do you understand?" Feng Qingyan's eyes lit up, and then she nodded, a trace of determination flashing in her eyes. Yeah, she seemed to understand what Chuyi meant. Then Chuyi handed the god-killing spear to Feng Qingyan. She felt the terrifying aura of the god-killing spear, and she held tightly the god-killing spear handed over by Chuyi. The corners of Chuyi's mouth raised slightly, and a confident smile spread across his face. He knew that this move would not only bring them victory, but also gain something incredible. Chu Yi's purpose is very clear, he wants to devour this thunder god Thorso. Thunder attribute rank 9 superpower, I wonder if I can get his thunder attribute power after devouring it. At this moment, Chu Yi was thinking in his heart, not only lamenting his lack of strength, alas, my current strength is still too weak. At this moment, Feng Qingyan was holding the god-killing spear tightly. She exuded an astonishing flame aura, which blended with the evil aura of the god-killing spear, making Torso on the opposite side slightly startled. He felt the burning evil aura from Feng Qingyan's body, as if he was facing an unconquerable goddess. Torso suppressed his decline and mocked cruelly, no matter what conspiracy you have, you will die without a burial today. Go to hell, Torso, so what if the god of thunder? Feng Qingyan ignored his nonsense. Her graceful figure danced, and the god-killing spear in her hand waved a series of fierce evil gun shadows, heading straight for Thor. He walked away. The phoenix dances for 9 days. The power of flames and evil spirits intertwined together, like a violent storm, forcing Torso to retreat steadily. He was unable to resist this powerful energy. He could only watch himself being approached by Feng Qingyan's power, and felt heartbroken. Feeling desperate, he roared, "Impossible, absolutely impossible. What is the weapon in your hand? How can it be so strong?" Feng Qingyan ignored his nonsense and continued to wave the god-killing spear in his hand to make a series of gun shadows. Great, it's finally possible. Chu Yi, who was watching the battle at this moment, shouted excitedly in his heart, and then he shouted loudly, "Evil energy swallows it up." In an instant, Thorso, the famous thunder god in the United States, was swallowed up by the endless evil energy. The power of thunder was continuously absorbed by Chu Yi. Suddenly, the power of thunder continued to exude dazzling light on Chu Yi. He was surprised to find that a lightning-shaped energy appeared in his body, exuding terrifying thunder power. Haha, if my guess is right, as long as I refine this piece of thunder energy, my superpower realm can be further improved. And with the characteristics of primordial origin Wujigong, it is very likely to obtain thunder attribute superpowers. Chu Yi, my heart is ecstatic. Half an hour passed, and Torso was now lifeless. He fell from the sky and lay dead on the ground. Feng Qingyan stared dumbly at Torso, who had fallen to the ground, in disbelief for a moment. Joy surged into her heart like a tide, and she couldn't help but jump with excitement. Feng Qingyan's arms hugged Chu Yi tightly, and her plump breasts inadvertently pressed against Chu Yi's neck, instantly making his cheeks burn red, and he said excitedly, "Chu Yi, that's great. He actually defeated Thor, the god of thunder. He is a rank 9 superpower, so this trip was really worthwhile." Chu Yi felt extremely embarrassed at this moment. He suppressed his embarrassment and said reluctantly, "Sister Qingyan, can you please let go of me first? Men and women are not allowed to be intimate. Some things still require keeping a distance. Do you understand?" Quote. Feng Qingyan reacted instantly. She let go of Chu Yi, patted his shoulder gently, and said teasingly, "Hey, I didn't expect you to be shy sometimes. What a surprise." A smile flashed in her eyes, but then she became serious again, and said to Chu Yi seriously, "However, it is best not to tell anyone about this ability you have. Do you know that you can kill rank 9 in this way?" "What does it mean?" "It means that you will be enemies with most of the rank 9 superpowers in the world. You must know that since the revival of spiritual energy for hundreds of years, rank 9 superpowers have been difficult to kill. They will only be killed. Injure them because their vitality is too strong." Chu Yi nodded and said solemnly, "I understand, Sister Qingyan." He also knew the seriousness of the matter at this moment. He did not want to be chased by a group of rank 9 superpowers. Feng Qingyan's voice revealed excitement and anticipation as she said, "This time we successfully killed a powerful rank 9 superpower. The organization will definitely give us generous rewards." Chu Yi's eyes flashed with curiosity and asked, "Is there any reward?" "What reward is that?" Feng Qingyan explained patiently. "Of course they are some heavenly materials and earthly treasures, specially used for the cultivation of superpowers. These heavenly materials and earthly treasures can enhance the intensity of our superpowers and improve our strength." Chu Yi frowned in confusion and asked, "Sister Qingyan, you have already reached rank 9 and are so powerful, why do you continue to practice?" Feng Qingyan explained with a smile, "Realm is just a symbol, strength is the key. Just like rank 9, there are also differences between strong and weak. Take you, a monster for example, although your realm is only rank 4, you can kill the rank 8 superpower, so there is no end to cultivation. Chu Yi murmured, is there no end? Above the sky. Feng Qingyan and Chu Yi stood on Huafeng's back, their figures as handsome as gods. Chu Yi asked doubtfully, Sister Qingyan, where are we going next? Of course we are going back to the headquarters. Feng Qingyan smiled and continued to explain, we just killed Torso, and the United States will definitely retaliate violently against us. We need to go back to the headquarters first, there is something you need there. Hey. Feng Qingyan suddenly held Chu Yi's arm tightly, Chu Yi, we have to speed up. Suddenly, Huo Feng's figure accelerated rapidly, like a ray of light, streaking through the air, heading towards the direction of Dragon Kingdom. As expected of the phoenix, this speed. Much faster than the little shark. It was so fast that Chu Yi was shocked. Just when Chu Yi was sighing, he had already arrived at Kunlun Mountain. That majestic peak standing in the sky is also the headquarters of the Dragon Kingdom Special Forces. This is the legendary Kunlun Mountain. The towering mountains are like a giant dragon entrenched on the earth. The white clouds on the top of the mountain are like a fairyland, exuding a mysterious and ancient atmosphere. Feng Qingyan looked excitedly at the location of the headquarters in front of her. Her voice was full of pride and she said, how about it? The location of the headquarters is not bad. Chu Yi nodded heavily and said, it's such a rich spiritual energy. 1 day of practicing here is worth 10 days of practicing outside. Feng Qingyan smiled mysteriously and said, now, I will take you to the real headquarters of the special forces with special powers. She led Chu Yi and finally came to a hidden place in Kunlun Mountain. A huge door came into view in front of her. Its existence seemed to be integrated with the surrounding environment, cleverly hidden. If you don't observe carefully, I'm afraid it's hard to detect its presence. Feng Qingyan pointed to the runes on the door and explained in a solemn tone, Chu Yi, this door is the entrance to the headquarters of our special forces. Only people with special certificates can open it. That certificate is what I'm going to say. The one I gave you first. Feng Qingyan took out her ID card from her arms, gently stroked the texture on it, and then inserted it into the groove on the door. The door opened instantly, revealing rows of stairs extending downward. Then the two of them came to the 5th underground floor, which was very large, like a small city. Is this the headquarters? It's unbelievable. It's actually a huge underground city. Chu Yi's eyes widened, staring intently at the magnificent scene in front of him. Feng Qingyan smiled and said to Chu Yi, yes, this is our headquarters. It has complete living facilities and training rooms for all kinds of superpowers. Each team member is given a private courtyard, but few people come here usually. Then how many people are there in our Phoenix group? Chu Yi asked doubtfully. Well, including you, there are 6 of us in total. Feng Qingyan looked a little embarrassed at the moment, however, each of us is an extremely powerful superpower. They are now performing tasks in various countries. Chu Yi nodded and expressed his understanding. After all, such a powerful organization can be understood by fewer people. Feng Qingyan said with admiration, Chu Yi, your performance this time is really good. Boss Xiao decided to reward you with a training opportunity at Kunlun Spiritual Spring. Chu Yi couldn't help but feel something in his heart, and asked curiously, what is Kunlun Spiritual Spring? A mysterious smile appeared on Feng Qingyan's face, and she explained, Kunlun Lingquan is an extremely mysterious place. Legend has it that it is the intersection of the 12 dragon veins in the world, and it is located where we are now. So that's it. It seems that the reason why the headquarters is built here is because of the Kunlun Spiritual Spring. Chu Yi nodded, understanding in his heart, and secretly surprised, the spiritual energy here is so rich that it is simply beyond imagination. Well, take me there. Chu Yi said, full of expectations. Feng Qingyan nodded, and she first took Chu Yi to his exclusive courtyard. The bed was covered with soft brocade, making people want to lie down and indulge in the comfort. Then, Feng Qingyan took Chu Yi to introduce the environment here in detail. She pointed to the garden outside the window and said, planting plants here I have collected various spiritual grasses and flowers, and the breath they emit can enhance concentration during practice and improve the absorption efficiency of spiritual power. Finally, Feng Qingyan took Chu Yi to the location of Kunlun Lingquan. The sight in front of Chu Yi made him hold his breath. This is the location of Lingquan. Feng Qingyan said. This is it. The spiritual energy is liquefied, and the water in this spiritual spring is actually made of pure spiritual energy. Chu Yi was horrified at the terrifying energy fluctuations. If you practice here for one day, it might be worth a year outside. The energy here was stronger than anywhere he had ever seen, and he was extremely shocked. I won't disturb your practice anymore, come on, little brother. Feng Qingyan raised her lips slightly, with a hint of playfulness in her eyes. She patted Chu Yi's shoulder gently, and then left. Although Chu Yi is only 18 years old physically, his mental age is over 40. There was a moment of embarrassment in his heart, and then he couldn't wait to jump into the Kunlun spiritual spring and sit cross-legged. Very good, this is how it feels. It feels so good. The water rippled and instantly enveloped his whole body. The terrifying energy poured into Chu Yi's body, filling his entire body. In one step, refine the energy of thunder and obtain thunder attribute powers. Chu Yi took a deep breath and concentrated on the primordial origin Wuji Kung Fu. In an instant, the thunder energy was rolling in his body, and the thunder energy was flowing in his blood, bursting out with extremely terrifying power. Then, the energy of thunder began to continuously wash through Chu Yi's body. Each time, it seemed to bring a strong thunder and lightning energy, making his body tremble. The light of thunder and lightning flashed from his skin, exuding a commanding terrifying thunder and lightning. This spiritual spring actually makes the power of thunder energy so powerful. Every impact of thunder and lightning made his breathing difficult, and every time it made his heart beat wildly, as if it was about to jump out of his chest. Very good. Let the thunder come more violently. Ha ha. He gritted his teeth tightly, eyes flashing with determination, allowing his body to adapt to the power of thunder. Chu Yi realized that only by resisting the pain of thunder and lightning could he truly master this powerful energy. Gradually, his body began to adapt to the impact of thunder and lightning, his muscles became tough and strong, his skin seemed to be covered with an indestructible armor, and his eyes became sharper, like a sharp sword. Under the baptism of thunder, Chu Yi's body gradually became stronger. This lasted for a whole day, and he felt the thunder attribute surge in his body, as if it could tear the whole world apart. Primordial origin Wuji Kung, breakthrough. Chu Yi suddenly opened his eyes and laughed loudly. The level of supernatural power has also broken through to rank 5. Chu Yi waved his arms, as if with infinite power, and a black thunder light quickly condensed in his hands, exuding a frightening aura of destruction. It turns out to be the highest level black thunder in the thunder attribute. He murmured excitedly, his eyes shining with excitement and satisfaction. Chu Yi continued to sit cross-legged in the Kunlun spiritual spring, and the spiritual energy seemed to be endless, rushing into Chu Yi's body like a river. He felt the influx of spiritual energy, as if thousands of filaments were tangled and intertwined in his meridians, penetrating into every cell. The evil spirit in Chu Yi's body became stronger and stronger, as if a ferocious black dragon was about to move inside his body. At the same time, his ice, water, wood, and thunder attribute abilities also began to burst out with strong energy fluctuations. Even the poison attribute abilities that he himself had ignored began to gradually strengthen with the influx of spiritual energy. He felt as if he was melting into the spiritual energy and becoming one with everything in the world. Although the tree of origin swallowed up part of the spiritual energy, Chu Yi's cultivation speed still increased by leaps and bounds. With every breath he took, he could feel the rich spiritual energy pouring into his lungs, making his body become lighter and more flexible. The cultivation level is improving rapidly, and the aura is getting stronger. Day 1, rank 5 late stage. The next day, rank 5 peaked. The third day is the early stage of rank 6. The fourth day, the middle stage of rank 6. The fifth day, rank 6 late stage. On the sixth day, Chu Yi's strength had reached the peak of rank 6. As Chu Yi continued to practice, he seemed to feel a bottleneck. He narrowed his eyes and said to himself, at the peak of rank 6, it seems that no matter how hard you practice, you can't break through to rank 7. What's going on? Chu Yi looked at the tree of origin in his body. From the original trunk, it had now grown to have several branches, and the power of life it exuded was even more terrifying than before. Chu Yi stared at the tree of origin spreading inside his body. It gradually evolved from the previous trunk to several slender branches. The ice, water, wood, thunder, and poison attributes have also become more pure. His eyes narrowed, and a strange feeling surged in his heart. His expression was a bit shocked. Moreover, the evil aura emitted by the god-killing spear seems to be evolved. Chu Yi immediately transformed into a god-killing spear, and the surface of the god-killing spear exuded a more intense and creepy evil spirit than before. This evil spirit is more than 100 times more powerful than before. He waved the gun in his hand, and the evil spirit condensed into a pair of huge black wings behind him, exuding a terrifying aura like a demon king. These wings danced as if they could tear the air apart, bringing the power of death and destruction. In Chu Yi's other hand, the evil spirit condensed into a sword, with cold black light flowing on the sword. The blade shines with an evil edge like a sharp blade, and a trace of evil energy permeates the sword, making people feel an irresistible pressure. Chu Yi licked his lips, extremely excited. I wonder if I can kill rank 9 superpowers now. I'm really looking forward to it. After saying that, he continued to practice, trying to fuse the 2 superpowers of ice and thunder. He closed his eyes tightly, and a biting chill emanated from his whole body. The power of extreme ice condensed in his body, condensing into a ball of frost, as if countless ice fragments were churning inside his body. At the same time, the power of thunder was also entangled crazily in his body, forming a picture of lightning dancing wildly. This kind of fusion is not easy. The properties of ice and thunder are completely different, as if 2 powerful forces are fighting each other, trying to repel each other. Another day has passed. Suddenly, a strange change occurred. The 2 powers of ice and thunder suddenly broke out and merged together. It actually succeeded. The 2 attributes of ice and thunder were intertwined, deriving an extremely powerful force and forming a brand new superpower, the power of ice and thunder. Very good, there is another superpower. The power of ice and thunder. I am such a genius. Chu Yi felt the surge of ice and thunder power in his body, and a burst of excitement surged into his heart, and then he calmed down again, continued to practice. He began to sit cross-legged again, spiritual energy pouring into his body like a hurricane, and his whole body emitted a brilliant light. Chu Yi did not hesitate to merge the spiritual energy into the tree of origin within his body. The tree of origin absorbed the spiritual energy crazily like a hungry monster. With the injection of spiritual energy, the branches of the tree of origin began to stretch rapidly, entrenching itself in Chu Yi's body like a giant dragon. A terrifying life force surged out from the tree of origin in his body, filled with a rich aura of life. With the injection of this power, his body seemed to be wrapped in an invisible energy and began to gradually become solid and powerful. The rising tide of vitality made his breathing become rapid and powerful. Every breath seemed to absorb the essence of the earth, making his body more energetic. 3 days flew by. Chu Yi, who was sitting cross-legged, suddenly opened his eyes. The flash of black light in his eyes looked extremely evil. He felt that his body had become several times stronger than before, and his vitality had become more than 100 times stronger. 10 days have passed, now it's time to leave here. Chu Yi came to his room, took out his mobile phone and was about to make a call, but unexpectedly, there was no signal. This place where birds don't poop has no signal. There is no other way. Chu Yi can only choose to fly by himself. An hour later, above the sky, Chu Yi in the form of Kunpeng was like a blue-black stream of light, heading towards Nanchang City. It's time to settle the score. Association of Superpowers Zhang Tianyang. At this moment, in a luxury hotel in Nanchang City, Zhang Tianyang was immersed in a sea of desire, surrounded by women's coquettish voices and soft touches. The woman wearing seductive red lace underwear approached him intimately, with a hint of naughty charm in her eyes, and her red lips were slightly raised. Master Tianyang, is that so? The room was filled with an alluring aroma, and sweet music flowed slowly, like a tender river, immersing them in the abyss of lust. Very good, that's it, continue. Suddenly, a cold breath enveloped the entire room. Chu Yi stared at Zhang Tianyang intently, feeling angry and disgusted by his unsightly actions. He said coldly, Zhang Tianyang, do you still remember me? Ah, Lord Tianyang, I. The woman under Zhang Tianyang immediately panicked, trembling with fear, and hurriedly curled up under the quilt. Zhang Tianyang stared at Chu Yi and said in a trembling voice, Chu Yi, why are you here? Chu Yi's eyes were calm and he said calmly, okay, no more nonsense with you, Zhang Tianyang, just die. In an instant, the power of ice and thunder surged, and Zhang Tianyang's body instantly solidified into an ice sculpture. Zizzizi. The surface of the ice sculpture flashed with dazzling thunder and lightning, and the cold arc burned on the ice sculpture, emitting heart-stopping energy fluctuations. Zhang Tianyang's body was completely surrounded by ice sculptures, and his eyes were still full of fear and unwillingness. The ice sculptures seemed to have frozen his last moments forever, demonstrating the cruelty and ruthlessness of death. Broken. Chu Yi waved his hand gently, and the ice sculpture suddenly shattered, and countless ice flakes scattered in all directions, accompanied by deafening thunder. Zhang Tianyang's body completely disappeared, leaving only a puddle of ice water, as if he had never existed. Chu Yi stepped into his mansion in Nanchang City and recalled in his mind a few months ago, when he was just an unknown rank 1 superpower. A feeling of emotion came to his heart, and he couldn't help but sigh, what a trick of fate. He then took out his mobile phone from the space ring and locked his eyes on the news headlines above. The Japanese country released poisonous gas wantonly into the sea, and the strange beasts in the sea were angered. Wave after wave of violent attacks were launched like a tide towards the coastal areas of Dragon Kingdom. There were over 10,000 casualties among civilians in the coastal areas of Dragon Kingdom. Chu Yi's pupils shrank suddenly, a dazzling light quickly emanated from his body, and the Kunpeng armor turned into a phantom on his body. Kunpeng's battle armor began to transform into a blue-black robe again, extremely domineering. His whole body was exuding a green-black light, and his long green-black hair was shining with a shimmering luster against the light. Every hair strand exuded an evil aura, making people's hearts flutter involuntarily. These beasts from the Japanese country are simply looking for death. Chu Yi frowned, and he quickly flew towards the direction of the Japanese country. His figure was like electricity, like a black stream of light piercing the night sky at extremely fast speeds. It had arrived in Japan in half an hour and was suspended over Kagoshima. He arrived at the center of the city in an instant like lightning. He stood on the street and glanced at the Japanese people around him. Angry anger burned in his heart, burning like rolling flames. In an instant, a powerful force of ice and thunder emanated from him, spreading around like lightning. The Japanese people looked at Chu Yi and suddenly felt a cold breath coming over them. They couldn't help but scream in horror, "Run! It's the god of death who has appeared. Everyone, run away! Chu Yi, the god of death is here!" They ran away one after another, with expressions of fear and panic on their faces. An icy cold air filled the surroundings, and the Japanese people's feet were immediately frozen, completely restricting their movements. Chu Yi stared at them coldly, with a mocking smile on his lips. "You still want to escape? You beasts of the Japanese country, you can't escape." Thousands of Japanese people, men and women, gathered on the street, wearing various costumes, forming a colorful picture. Suddenly, a Japanese woman's eyes were full of anger and unyielding. She gritted her teeth and shouted at Chu Yi, "You god of murder! You have taken away the lives of 400,000 people in our Chengchi city. Aren't you satisfied? Oh, this female beast of the Japanese country, do you want to experience the taste of death for yourself?" Chu Yi showed a sarcastic smile, his eyes flashing with cold light. "Okay, let me see your so-called killing ability." A trace of determination appeared on the Japanese woman's face. A sneer appeared at the corner of Chu Yi's lips, and he walked towards the Japanese woman resolutely. The superpower on his body exploded instantly, and the woman's clothes were instantly shattered by this force, and her body was exposed to Chu Yi's eyes without any cover. Chu Yi transformed an ice knife out of thin air, and he cut the woman's skin mercilessly one by one. Blood splattered everywhere, and the smell of blood filled the air. The Japanese woman gritted her teeth in pain, her whole body trembling, and her eyes were full of fear. "Kill me, I beg you." She could no longer bear the pain and begged hoarsely, "Ah! Ah! Ah! Kill me, please kill me. You abominable devil." The surrounding Japanese people witnessed this scene in horror, and suddenly shouted fiercely, "You evil devil! Stop! Don't worry, it will be your turn soon." Chu Yi smiled, but under his calm appearance, the people watching were panicking. Chu Yi coldly used the knife to cut across the Japanese woman's skin. Each knife was filled with endless cruelty and ferocity. Flesh and blood flew everywhere, and blood splattered everywhere. He mercilessly tortured her to death in this bloody hell. Kill me, kill me. The Japanese woman was weak, as if she had lost her soul. Please kill me. Gradually, the pleading voice of the Japanese woman gradually disappeared into the air, as if being mercilessly swallowed. Chu Yi's eyes flashed with hatred, and his heart was filled with rage, and he said, "Do you want to die? You are so naive." He ruthlessly instilled the power of life into the Japanese woman's body and continued to peel off her fresh skin mercilessly with a knife. "You devil! Ah, ah!" The woman screamed miserably. In pain, she could hardly bear the torture. In this way, she was tortured again and again, and the ruthless torture pushed her to the edge of her spirit. In the end, the Japanese woman could no longer bear the pain, became insane, and died. Cutting off human skin alive, and repeatedly cutting off human skin alive. Chu Yi spat on the Japanese woman, looked at the other Japanese people around him, and said with an extremely cold expression, "How do you want to die? You beasts of the Japanese country." In the crowd, a little girl said to her mother, "Mom, I'm afraid." Chu Yi stared at the Japanese mother and daughter, smiled coldly, and the icy shackles instantly dissipated under their feet, and said, "It's just you, come here, or I will make you unable to survive or die." The Japanese mother suddenly rushed over and knelt at Chu Yi's feet, her voice full of despair and pleading. "Please, please let us go. No matter what you ask us to do, we are willing to do it. Please don't kill us." Her voice was full of sorrow and helplessness. Chu Yi sneered and said, "I'll give you a chance. You can choose to die or let your daughter die." The Japanese woman did not hesitate at all and replied resolutely, "Please kill my daughter, I don't want to die." Chu Yi narrowed his eyes were cold and sharp. He made no secret of his disgust for this Japanese woman. "I hate betrayal the most. You even betrayed your own daughter, so you should die together. Let's go." After saying that, Chu Yi's figure swayed, and a god-killing spear appeared in his hand. In an instant, he stabbed the Japanese woman in the chest and died. Then he went to the little girl and ended her life in an instant. "Alas, I am still too kind, so I let you die like this." Chu Yi slaughtered the Japanese people in front of him mercilessly. The knife penetrated the flesh, the skin and flesh were separated, the blood spurted out, and the bloody smell filled the air, which makes people shudder. Countless screams for mercy and fear filled the streets. "Please let me go. Please kill me. End my pain. Please kill me. I beg you, end my life quickly." Chu Yi was a little tired from killing and used the doppelganger technique. Water clone, wood clone, poison clone, ice clone, thunder clone. The clone also joined the ranks of killing Japanese people without mercy, turning the streets into a hellish carnival. The shadow of death shrouded the streets, and the smell of blood permeated every corner. Chu Yi's existence seemed to be the embodiment of evil, and his actions made these Japanese people feel fear and despair. Chu Yi gave up on torturing these Japanese people because he was too kind, so he might as well just kill them all. There was a hint of evil in his cold eyes, making the whole of Kagoshima feel a terrifying oppression. As Chu Yi's mood changed, the evil spirit permeating his body became stronger and stronger. It spread slowly like a black mist, covering the entire Kagoshima. This evil spirit seems to come from hell, which makes people feel heart-stopping. "Die, let's all die." Chu Yi's voice was low and cold, like a roar from hell. His words carried an irresistible power that made everyone feel extremely frightened. As Chu Yi roared, the entire Kagoshima began to fall into chaos and despair. The screams of 1.6 million people echoed throughout the world, as if the ghosts of hell were howling. On the land of Kagoshima, 1.6 million Japanese people were ruthlessly taken away by Chu Yi. Bloody scenes permeated the entire city, corpses were scattered everywhere, and the tragic scene was simply unbearable. In the Japanese command center, Lieutenant General Shabi looked at such a scene and roared, "Go quickly, that Chu Yi is coming to our Japanese country again, go and stop him. Use missiles and nuclear bombs, kill Chu Yi." Quote. 10 minutes later, Chu Yi looked up at the sky, grinned, and said disdainfully, "Ha ha. Missiles, how ridiculous. I saw dense missiles coming overwhelmingly, like the Milky Way pouring down." He frowned slightly, his eyes flashed with a firm coldness that could not be shaken at all. He took a deep breath and activated the extreme ice power in his body. Suddenly, the cold air filled the air, condensing into ice mist and filling the air. Under his control, the missiles in the sky were frozen, like solidified flames, floating quietly in midair. A slight smile of disdain appeared at the corner of Chu Yi's mouth. He stretched out his index finger and pointed lightly at the sky. That's it. Rubbish. His voice was full of ridicule and contempt. At this moment, in the Japanese command center, Lieutenant General Shabi frowned, stared at his subordinates with sharp eyes, and asked doubtfully, "What is he talking about?" A subordinate who was proficient in the language of the Dragon Kingdom responded slightly nervously. He is saying, you are trash. Mobilize all the troops and send them out immediately." Lieutenant General Shabi's heart was filled with rage, and his eyes instantly burst into anger. No matter what, Chu Yi must be eliminated. However, at this moment, Chu Yi received an uninvited guest. He saw a Japanese superpower standing in front of Chu Yi. It looked like he was a rank 9 superpower. Chu Yi said coldly, "Are you here to die?" The Japanese superpower said, "I am Miyamoto Big Bear, and you are Chu Yi. If you dare to massacre our Japanese civilians like this, you are seeking death." Chu Yi was disdainful and said, "Haha, you rank 9 beast of Japan, die." He instantly transformed into a god-killing spear and attacked Miyamoto Big Bear. God-killing spear technique. 5th style, flying dragon in the sky. The power of the god-killing spear technique reached its peak at this moment. Chu Yi's body was as agile as a flying dragon soaring into the sky. The god-killing spear in his hand turned into a black lightning, sweeping over like a violent tornado. The god-killing spear's stabbing speed was so fast that it was difficult to predict. Miyamoto Dashang quickly pulled out the long knife from his waist. As the light of the knife flashed, he started a thrilling duel with Chu Yi's god-killing spear. The intertwined figures of the two crossed the sky like a gust of wind, the sword light and the gun shadow intertwined, the blade and the gun tip clashed, and sparks flew everywhere. Chu Yi laughed disdainfully, and the sarcastic words pierced Miyamoto Dashang's heart like a sharp blade. "Akuma Miyamoto, do you only have so much ability? A rank 9 beast, how can you be such a waste? You can't even defeat me, a rank 6 superpower, how pathetic." His voice was full of disdain and ridicule, as if he was laughing at Miyamoto Dashang's incompetence. "Shut up, Chu Yi, you murderous villain. You are destined to pay the price for your crime of massacring 2 million people." Miyamoto Dashang was furious, his voice full of fierce anger and hatred, like a burning flame, ready to engulf Chu Yi. "Haha, you are so funny. When the Japanese country massacred our Dragon Kingdom, why didn't you say that you, the Japanese country, are just a bunch of beasts?" Chu Yi laughed disdainfully, with a hint of ridicule in his voice. It is full of hatred and anger towards the Japanese people, as if the hatred of history has always been lingering in my heart. That was history hundreds of years ago. If you mention it now, how many people will remember it? Miyamoto Dashang's anger was also ignited. He gritted his teeth, and his voice was full of indignation at Chu Yi's words. It was as if his country's past crimes had been erased. The confrontation between the two filled the air with a tense atmosphere. They represented the hatred and unwillingness of the two countries, and their words pierced each other's hearts like sharp swords. At this moment, their eyes were flashing with fire, as if they were about to devour each other. "Then come on, only one can leave alive today," Chu Yi roared, his voice as shocking as thunder. "Fight!" Miyamoto Big Bear also roared. Chu Yi held the god-killing spear, and Miyamoto Dashang held a long knife. The two of them fought together crazily in the air. God-killing spear technique. 5th style, flying dragon in the sky. Chu Yi roared, and with his voice, a dragon-shaped energy burst out from the tip of the spear, and rushed towards the palace like a soaring dragon in the sky. "Ben Big Bear. Endless, draw the sword and slash." Miyamoto Dashang roared, and the long sword in his hand suddenly swung, bringing up a cold sword light, cutting through the shattering void sky, and heading straight towards Chu Yi. The power of ice and thunder. Endless ice thunder. Chu Yi's eyes were as cold as ice, and a mocking smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. His body was instantly surrounded by a layer of ice mist, and ice thunder burst out from his body, condensing into countless ice thunder beams. These beams of light clashed with the sword energy wielded by Miyamoto Dashang, forming an earth-shattering spiritual energy storm. The ice thunder beam stood proudly like an icicle, flashing with cold light and full of destructive power. Each beam of light is like a bolt of lightning, like thunder falling from the sky, with infinite power. They collided with Miyamoto's sword energy, making bursts of ear-piercing explosions, and the air was filled with sparks. Ha ha ha, die. Today I will personally slaughter the rank 9 superpowers. Chu-Yi laughed crazily. He held the god-killing gun tightly, waving it like a strong wind, and attacked Miyamoto Dashang crazily. Every move he makes is filled with endless evil energy and irrepressible destructive power, so crazy. Although there were scars all over Chu-Yi's body, these scars recovered in an instant. He waved the god-killing spear desperately and launched a crazy attack on Miyamoto Bear. Miyamoto Big Bear roared, his voice roaring like thunder, and roared, "You madman, stop." Chu-Yi did not flinch. As if he was possessed by a mad demon, he held the god-killing spear tightly and waved it wildly like a lifeless one. Each wave was directed at Miyamoto Dashang's vitals, cutting through the air and releasing a powerful weapon. Destructive power. Please like and subscribe. Chapter 51. Ha ha ha. What's wrong? Are you scared of this rank 9 beast? Chu-Yi laughed wildly, his laughter full of sarcasm and arrogance. Stop. In fact, we don't need to fight like this. I can satisfy you whatever you want. Miyamoto Dashang shouted quickly. He was panicked. He was really panicked. This Chu-Yi is a bit strong. However, Chu-Yi remained unmoved, wildly waving the god-killing spear in his hand, and attacked Miyamoto Dashang mercilessly. The evil aura on his body became stronger and stronger, as if a dark force was about to move in his body. The more you fight, the stronger you become. Die, you rank 9 beast. His eyes were full of madness and desire, as if he had been completely controlled by the fever of battle. Miyamoto Dashang felt a strong pressure. He knew that he was facing a madman, a real madman. You madman, I will fight with you. The battle between the two became more intense, with sword lights and gun shadows intertwining, forming a chaotic and dangerous battlefield. The atmosphere here was tense and depressing, as if there was a suffocating murderous intention in the air. In this life and death battle, Chu-Yi felt more and more that his strength was growing, and every attack he made became more fierce and fierce, ruthless. Kill, 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 die, you rank 9 beast. Chu-Yi laughed crazily. Miyamoto Dashang tried his best to resist Chu-Yi's attack. His body had been eroded by the evil spirit, but he still persisted and was unwilling to compromise easily. Ha ha ha, the evil spirit is swallowing you up. Die, poor rank 9 beast. Chu-Yi laughed loudly, and as Chu-Yi's words fell, a terrifying evil spirit spread out like black smoke, and quickly it enveloped Miyamoto Dashang's whole body. The evil spirit was ferocious, like the claws of a monster, ruthlessly tearing at Miyamoto's soul and swallowing him completely. What is this? It's impossible. Ah! Miyamoto Dashang's eyes were full of despair and pain, and he finally fell to the ground miserably, no longer alive. Devouring the life force of 1.6 million people, the energy of a rank 9 superpower poured into Chu-Yi's body like a violent storm. In an instant, he felt an unparalleled power surging inside his body, making him stronger. His blood boiled and his heart beat faster. His muscles seemed to be infused with endless power. Every breath he took made him feel the power of life bursting out. Chu-Yi was extremely excited and said to himself, hey, very good. He has become a lot stronger again. Rank 9 superpowers are nothing more than that. It's not suitable to stay here for a long time, slip away. Chu-Yi knew the danger of this place. He quickly transformed into a bolt of lightning and flew towards the south city of Dragon Kingdom. His figure was like lightning, pierced the sky and disappeared from sight in an instant. An hour later, Japan sent a sad message to the world. Our Japanese country of Kagoshima was massacred by Chu-Yi, with a total of 1.6 million people. Attached below are the latest photos of Chu-Yi. Listed are photos of Chu-Yi in all his forms. Name: Chu-Yi. Age: 18 years old. Nationality: Dragon Kingdom. Strength: Blue Star's top powerhouse, capable of killing rank 9 superpowers. Superpowers: the legendary SSS level Soul Superpower, Black Gun, the second superpower Elemental Superpower, Ice Attribute Superpower. Crimes: brutal murder of more than 7,000 Japanese people on a Japanese cruise ship, Wanton massacre of 400,000 innocent people in Chengchi City. No one survived in Chengchi City. Wanton massacre of 1.6 million innocent people in Kagoshima. No one alive in Kagoshima return. The world was completely shaken, extremely shocked, and 2 million people were killed. Is this something humans do? Immediately afterwards, the International Organization of Superpowers issued a transcendent level wanted notice for the most vicious criminal in history. Name: Chu Yi. Age: 18 years old. Nationality: Dragon Kingdom. Strength: possessing the strength to kill rank 9 superpowers, extremely dangerous and terrifying. Crime: massacre of more than 2 million Japanese people, a heinous crime. Prize money: 10 trillion yuan. On the other side, at Shangguan's house, Shangguan Shaoshan looked at the news and laughed loudly. Great. What a good kill. His laughter echoed throughout the villa, full of pride and victory. In the Nangong family, Fatty also saw the news and was amazed. Brother Chu is indeed Brother Chu. He can already kill rank 9 superpowers. He is so powerful. Nangong Shirong said calmly, this brother of yours is really capable of causing trouble. Fortunately, we didn't let him come in the first place. The culprit, Chu Yi, was currently lying comfortably in his luxurious villa. He was completely unaware that he had become the most vicious criminal in history. Beep beep. The phone suddenly rang, and he quickly answered the call. Feng Qingyan, what's the matter? Feng Qingyan's voice came from the other end of the phone. When you have something to do, call me Sister Qingyan. Now that you don't need help, you can call me Feng Qingyan. Chu Yi smiled bitterly and replied, what if? However, Feng Qingyan's next words made Chu Yi's face instantly become solemn. Feng Qingyan chuckled and said, you have caused big trouble. The International Organization of Superpowers wants you. Really wanted. You are the most vicious criminal in history. Chu Yi frowned slightly and asked, how strong is the International Organization of Superpowers? After all, I am the one who killed the rank 9 superpowers. Feng Qingyan's voice came from the other end of the phone, with a hint of worry. The person you killed, Miyamoto Dashang, was just a pseudo-rank 9 superpower, and he was just the weakest existence among the rank 9. However, we are members of the Dragon Kingdom's special forces, and we will find a way for you. Chu Yi said gratefully, thank you, but I'm not afraid of them. They're just an international organization of superpowers. If you come one, I'll kill one. If you come two, I'll kill a pair. Feng Qingyan's anxious instructions came from the other end of the phone. Her tone revealed deep concern. You must be careful. Many powerful people in our organization cannot escape. You must be careful and don't be betrayed by international aliens. The capable organization will kill you. Chu Yi exchanged greetings with Feng Qingyan again, then hung up the phone, and then another unfamiliar number called. He frowned, picked up the phone, and asked slightly warily, who are you? Chu Yi, I am the principal of Yenqing College, Long Xiao. A man's confident voice came from the other end of the phone. It turned out to be the principal of Yenqing College, Long Xiao. Principal Long, why are you contacting me? Long Xiao's calm voice came from the other end of the phone. Classmate Chu Yi, we at Yenqing College would like to invite you to be a tutor in our Department of Supernatural Powers at Yenqing College. Chu Yi held the phone tightly, his voice full of surprise and doubt. Principal Long, are you serious? I am currently wanted by the International Organization of Superpowers. How can I become a mentor of Yenqing College with such an identity? On the other end of the phone, Long Xiao's voice was firm and deep. Classmate Chu Yi, our Yenqing College needs your strength. You can kill rank 9 superpowers. Such a record makes us extremely admire your strength. And his internationally wanted status is not a problem for Yenqing College. Chu Yi narrowed his eyes and said casually, sorry, Principal Long, I'm not very interested in teaching students. On the other end of the phone, Long Xiao's voice was extremely sincere and had a hint of helplessness. Well, to be honest, our Dragon Kingdom has not had many good prospects in recent years. We really need powerful people like you, Chu Yi, to do this. Their tutor, student Chu Yi, please believe that our Yenqing College sincerely invites you to serve as a tutor. Chu Yi fell into silence for a long time, sighed deeply, and finally said, okay, I can go, but I have a request, I need absolute freedom. Okay, as long as Chu Yi is willing to come, we are willing to meet any of your requirements. Long Xiao promised on the other end of the phone. The phone hangs up. Chu Yi finally agreed to become a tutor at Yanjing College. He chuckled and said to himself, I just happened to go see how that guy Zhang Xin is doing now. Being a teacher is interesting, as long as it doesn't affect his ability to improve. In his heart, he desperately hopes to improve his ability. Ever since he reached the peak of Dao rank 6, his superpower realm was like being blocked by an invisible barrier that could no longer be broken through. Chu Yi dialed Feng Qingyan's phone with some anxiety, and he said softly, Hey, Sister Qingyan. Feng Qingyan's voice came from the other end of the phone, Little brother, you call me sister. It seems you are in trouble again, right? Chu Yi smiled awkwardly, Yes, I have reached the peak of rank 6 now, but I just can't break through to rank 7. I don't know the reason. There was a trace of thought in Feng Qingyan's voice. From rank 6 to rank 7, the superpowers will undergo a second awakening. This is a very difficult process, and many people will not be able to break through in their lifetime. You need to have a deep understanding of your own superpowers, characteristics, and practice accordingly. And everyone's superpower characteristics are different. For example, my fire attribute superpower was a breakthrough made in the Antarctic hell of fire. Chu Yi said gratefully, Thank you, Sister Qingyan. You helped me, and I will definitely pay you back in the future. On the other end of the phone, Feng Qingyan's hearty voice came, Haha, little brother, you're welcome. Come on and practice. The two chatted casually for a few more words, then hung up the phone. Chu Yi frowned and sat in the room, his thoughts confused. Could the characteristic of the god-killing spear be killing? The doubts in his mind became more and more intense, and he tried to clarify his thoughts. According to Feng Qingyan, only by practicing according to the characteristics of one's own powers can one break through rank 7. And what does the god-killing spear mean as one of his abilities? He fell into deep thought. He closed his eyes and recalled the battle scenes from the past. What are the characteristics of the god-killing spear? Is it really a killing? Suddenly, Chu Yi opened his eyes, and a hint of enlightenment flashed in his eyes. He understood that the characteristic of the god-killing spear is killing. Can you advance to rank 7 only through constant killing? That's great. Chu Yi was extremely excited at the moment. Wasteland, here I come. After a while, in the wasteland area, Chu Yi's eyes were firm and sharp, as if he had transformed into an invincible god of war. As he headed north, wherever he passed, the smell of killing filled the air. From rank 2 beasts to rank 6 beasts, he ruthlessly slaughtered all the creatures that appeared in front of him. Suddenly, a dark-skinned woman in revealing clothes descended from the sky. She had a graceful figure and her eyes were like lightning. She locked her eyes sharply on Chu Yi and said, You must be Chu Yi. You are such a handsome guy. She said softly. He smiled lightly, revealing a row of teeth as white as jade. Chu Yi stared at the dark-skinned woman in front of him, doubtful in his heart, and asked, Who are you? He could feel the powerful aura exuding from this woman, which was even more powerful than the previous Yamamoto bear. There was no doubt that she was a rank 9 superpower. The dark-skinned woman raised her eyebrows gracefully and said in a frivolous and charming voice, My name is Black Snake, and I am a member of the International Organization of Superpowers. But seeing as how handsome you are, if you are willing to be my male favorite, I feel comfortable serving you, maybe I can spare your life. Her voice was full of teasing, as if she was sending out a temptation. A sarcastic smile appeared at the corner of Chu Yi's mouth, and he said sarcastically, Ha 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 ha, you really made me laugh to death. How much do you really want a man, a shameless woman? Do you want to have sex with him as soon as you see him? It seems that black people have no shame at all. The black snake seemed to have been stabbed in its weakness, and suddenly became furious. You dare to scold me, you are seeking death. The black-scaled snake appears. Suddenly, a huge and terrifying black-scaled snake instantly descended in front of Chu Yi, as if it appeared out of thin air. It turns out to be a rank 9 summoning superpower. Not bad. Chu Yi chuckled, clenching his fists tightly, with a firm light shining in his eyes. The power of extreme ice, eternity in an instant. He shouted, and a powerful icy energy quickly condensed and burst out towards the black-scaled snake like an eternity in an instant. The black-scaled snake felt a strong chill coming, because the snake itself was extremely sensitive to cold, and she immediately felt fear rising from the depths of her heart. She said angrily, It turned out to be an ice attribute power, so let me eat the black-scaled snake. Chu Yi held the god-killing spear tightly and immediately started a fierce battle with the black-scaled snake. God-killing spear technique. 5th style, flying dragon in the sky. Chu Yi roared, the god-killing spear in his hand quickly thrust out, and a dragon-shaped ice energy cut through the air, instantly freezing the black-scaled snake's body. The black snake twisted angrily, trying to break free from the shackles of the ice, and was about to break free. HMPH. Go to hell. Chu Yi sneered and suddenly used a more powerful attack. God-killing spear technique. 6th style, dragon soaring 9 heavens. An ice dragon appeared out of thin air and swallowed up the black snake in an instant. The black snake's eyes widened, with a look of shock on his face. Impossible, absolutely impossible. You can actually swallow my black-scaled snake. You guy, please give me my black-scaled snake back. Your summoned beast, the black-scaled snake, has been swallowed by me. As a rank 9 summoning superpower, you no longer have a summoned beast. Chu Yi glanced at the black snake indifferently, with a touch of disdain at the corner of his mouth. It's empty. At the rank 9 level, you are nothing more than a useless waste with no fighting power. Black Snake was furious, with a trace of madness in his eyes. You guy, I will never let you go. I will make you pay the price. Chu Yi sneered, stop thinking, you can't be my opponent now. Black Snake roared angrily, with extreme unwillingness, I will never let you succeed. With a fierce light in her eyes, she rushed towards Chu Yi resolutely. The whole body exuded a powerful energy wave, as if it was going to detonate the entire space. No, it's self-destruction. Chu Yi roared, the power of extreme ice, eternity in an instant. A terrifying force of extreme ice suddenly erupted from his body. In an instant, Black Snake was restrained by the power of extreme ice. Her body was frozen in the ice and she could not move. Chu Yi mocked disdainfully. The International Organization of Superpowers is nothing more than that. The god-killing gun he held in his hand penetrated the Black Snake's chest instantly like lightning, and the evil spirit continued to swallow the Black Snake. Black Snake, die. Hoo-ho. It's time to go to Yanjing City. Chu Yi shouted softly, holding the god-killing spear tightly and heading north. He advanced in endless killing. 3 days passed. At the gate of Yanjing City, Chu Yi looked at the tens of thousands of crystal nuclei in the space ring. Chu Yi sighed in his heart, we are finally here. I didn't expect that in 3 days, tens of thousands of strange beasts were killed. When Chu Yi stepped into the gate of Yanjing City, a prosperous scene bloomed in front of his eyes, with high-rise buildings rising from the ground and brightly lit billboards twinkling. His eyes couldn't help but scan the wasteland area outside. It was desolate and desolate, like a forgotten corner. All this made Chu Yi's heart feel like a knife, and he was filled with emotions. The people in the wasteland are struggling with the threat of death every day. But the people in Yanjing City are immersed in the illusory prosperity of feasting and feasting. Among them, the world is really declining and morals are declining. Is this the so-called reality? He looked at the prosperous scene of Yanjing City, and his heart was filled with helplessness and disappointment. People on the street are rushing around, as if their inner emptiness and confusion are obscured by luxurious curtains. Chu Yi couldn't help but think of the scene in the wasteland, where people lived in fear, and every day was a battle of life and death. They have no gorgeous buildings or luxurious enjoyment, but they have pure vitality and tenacity. In that wasteland, every drop of water is precious and every bite of food is hard-earned. Their lives are simple and difficult. In contrast, the frivolity and absurdity of Yanjing City appear more vivid. People are addicted to pleasure and indulgence, chasing superficial pleasure, but turning a blind eye to the true meaning of life. Alas! Finally, Chu Yi sighed deeply. He then went to the principal's office of Yanqing College. The principal's office is located on the highest floor of Yanqing College. The windows of the principal's office are wide and bright, offering an unobstructed view of the entire campus of Yanqing College. The flower beds outside are full of flowers of all colors, and the fragrance of flowers fills the air, making people feel relaxed and happy. Long Xiao sat on a wide-backed chair, his neat and solemn black suit perfectly setting off his tall and straight figure. The sunlight shines on his face through the window, reflecting a thoughtful expression, as if he is thinking about the future development direction of Yanqing College. Seeing Chu Yi's arrival, Long Xiao's eyes flashed with joy, and he immediately stood up to greet him. Chu Yi, you are very welcome. From today on, you will serve as the tutor of the Department of Supernatural Powers of Yanjing College. Then, Long Xiao arranged a spacious and comfortable residence for Chu Yi in Yanjing College. This residence is located in the center of the campus. The surrounding environment is quiet and the air is fresh. When he walked into the residence, he felt a peaceful and stable atmosphere, which was refreshing, and said, "This place is really good." Long Xiao carefully introduced the various departments and related matters of Yanjing College to Chu Yi, giving him a clearer understanding of the entire college. Chu Yi listened with great interest and could feel Long Xiao's love and respect for the college. Under the guidance of Long Xiao, Chu Yi also visited the college's magnificent library and advanced laboratories. The laboratories were full of a scientific and technological atmosphere, and various advanced equipment and instruments were dazzling. However, Chu Yi was not impressed by these interest. After bidding farewell to Long Xiao, Chu Yi came to the Nangong family again. Although the Nangong family belongs to Dongli City, of course they still have some industries in Yanjing City. Nangong's house is a large villa. Chu Yi finally met Fatty again, and saw Fatty with a sly expression on his face and a little bit of cunning in his eyes. Fatty said excitedly, "Brother Chu, you are so awesome now that you can even kill rank 9 superpowers." There was a hint of admiration in his voice. Chu Yi didn't care about Fatty's flattery, and asked instead, "Fatty, how are you doing at Nangong's house during this time?" The fat man said proudly, "Of course I'm living a good life. I don't have to worry about food and drink, I live comfortably, and I can go out to hunt exotic beasts and practice." His words revealed a full sense of satisfaction. "Very good, as long as you have a good life." Chu Yi smiled and nodded. He was relieved, knowing that Fatty lived so comfortably in Nangong's house and that his choice was not wrong. He continued to ask, "Fatty, what are your plans next?" Fatty said excitedly, "Of course I will continue to hunt strange beasts to improve my strength. I have good stuff here." Chu Yi smiled mysteriously. "I saw Chu Yi taking out a bag of tens of thousands of crystal nuclei from the space ring. The crystal nuclei were emitting dazzling light and stacked up like a huge hill. Holy shit, Brother Chu, which big family did you steal this from? Such a terrifying number of crystal nuclei." The fat man couldn't help but take a breath. Chu Yi smiled proudly, waved his hand, and said, "You are overthinking, I hunted these all myself." The fat man stared at Chu Yi dumbfounded, his admiration for him doubled in his heart. Suddenly, the courtyard door opened gently, revealing an elegant and charming figure. It was Nangong Shirong. "Chu Yi, you're here unexpectedly. Your reputation is astonishing." Her voice was filled with surprise and admiration. She walked slowly into the courtyard. "You are now the most brutal criminal in history, and you can still kill rank 9 powers exist. Do you really think I would be so cruel?" Chu Yi looked at Nangong Shirong with a smile, a hint of deep mystery in his eyes. "Actually, all this is just a misunderstanding by others. I am not a criminal, but a scapegoat. Just doing the right thing." Nangong Shirong looked at him doubtfully. How can he be said to be doing justice to heaven by killing 2 million people? She looked unbelieving. Chu Yi said with a smile, "Isn't it what every Longguo person should do to kill Japanese people? Killing Japanese people is an act of justice." Nangong Shirong blinked doubtfully, her eyes locked on Chu Yi's face. Her eyebrows wrinkled slightly, her eyes revealing suspicion and distrust of Chu Yi. She could not accept such a view and felt that the words are full of absurdity. Killing is killing, and killing so many people. But Chu Yi smiled and seemed not to care about Nangong Shirong's questions. He straightened his body, exuding terrifying murderous aura, and said confidently, "Killing 1 is a sin, killing 10,000 is a hero. If you kill 9 million, you are a hero among heroes." The next day, dozens of students from the Special Abilities Department of Yanjing College gathered in the square. These people are the students in Class 1, Grade 3, Department of Supernatural Powers, Yanjing College. They were having a heated discussion. The square is wide and open, and it looks particularly lively under the sunlight. A male student shouted loudly, "I heard that we have a great transcendent level tutor this time, and he is a male teacher." His voice was full of excitement and expectation, attracting the attention of the surrounding students. A girl said excitedly, "Male teacher. I don't know if he is handsome or not, but I like this type. She raised her eyebrows deliberately, with a naughty smile on her lips. Another girl said disapprovingly, "Come on, do you still expect teacher-student love? Concentrating on practicing supernatural powers is the right way." She poked the girl next to her with her finger to express her disdain for her. Then, a boy interjected, "I heard that the teacher who came this time is not a good teacher. He is murderous. We should be careful." There was a hint of worry in his tone, and he seemed to be full of awe for this teacher. Just when they were discussing, a frightening god-killing gun suddenly appeared in the sky. It rushed down at an alarming speed, piercing the ground of the square like a black lightning, bringing a terrifying impact. In an instant, most of the students were blown to the ground by this powerful momentum, and only 5 students remained standing. The other students who fell to the ground suddenly panicked, and the sudden appearance of the god-killing spear in front of them made their hearts palpitate. "Whose gun does this belong to? It's so scary," a student shouted in horror. "Is there someone trying to attack our college?" another student asked with a trembling voice. Chu Yi's figure suddenly fell from the sky. Like a god of war, he slowly opened his eyes. His eyes were like lightning, revealing an unstoppable power. His voice was majestic and low. "Are you the students of Class 1 of the Supernatural Department? I am your mentor, Chu Yi." A chill instantly surged in everyone's heart, and they couldn't help holding their breath and staring at Chu Yi. This is Chu Yi, who is rumored to have massacred 2 million people in Japan. A boy couldn't help but screamed. Chu Yi's eyes were like knives at this moment, and he swept across the group of students who had fallen to the ground sharply. His voice was firm and powerful, spreading throughout the square. "Students who just fell, you can leave. I won't teach you." Quote. The students who fell to the ground asked in confusion, "Why? We are students in this class." Chu Yi took a deep look at them, with a wise light shining in his eyes. "Have you seen this god-killing gun? You can't even block my aftermath. You can't carry out the training I arranged. You are very likely to die on the way." When the students heard this, they became timid and asked, "Then where can we go?" Chu Yi smiled and said, "You can choose to transfer to other classes. My place is not suitable for you." After a while, Chu Yi sent the other students away. He stared at the 5 students in front of him, his eyes flashing with expectation, and said with a smile, "Introduce yourselves." And Qinliu stood there elegantly, with a hint of confidence in her eyes, and said softly, "My name is Qinliu, and my power is S-level, elemental system, wind, rank 3 power user. I can control wind. The power creates powerful storms and wind blades, allowing me to move as fast as the wind in battle." Chen Chenghao stood upright, showing his strong physique and determination, and said deeply, "My name is Chen Chenghao, my superpower is S-level, flash system, steel, rank 3 superpower. My body has the properties of steel, and I can withstand all kinds of attacks, but I can also launch violent punches and kicks with amazing strength." Ruiyu smiled, with a hint of wisdom in his eyes, and said calmly, "My name is Ruiyu, and my power is S-level soul system feather fan, rank 3 power user. I can use the power of the feather fan to create a fatal psychic attack." Sun Dao stood there, with a hint of indifference in his eyes, and said calmly, "My name is Sun Dao, my power is S-level, summoning system, ghost knight, rank 3 power user. I can summon ghost warriors. They have invisible strength and deadly attack capabilities." Yu Ting stood there, with an elegant posture and a soft look in her eyes. She said softly, "My name is Yu Ting. My power is SS level, elemental system, water, rank 4. I can control water. With my power, I can create powerful water-based moves. At the same time, I also have the ability to heal and can provide healing to others." Chu Yi nodded and said, "Very good, my name is Chu Yi, and I will be your mentor from today on. However, you must pass my test." "Teacher Chu, what is the test?" Ruiyu's voice was calm and firm, and he looked at Chu Yi resolutely without showing any wavering. Chu Yi replied calmly, "The 5 of you must hold on in my hands for 3 minutes." Ruiyu couldn't help being surprised and questioned, "This is simply impossible, Master Chu, you can kill rank 9 superpowers." Chu Yi smiled slightly and said, "No, I will suppress my realm to rank 3 and fight against you." Suddenly, Chen Chenghao couldn't help but said, "No, Teacher Chu, this is unfair to you." "Fair? Today's world is cruel, and there is nothing fair." Chu Yi smiled, with a hint of arrogance in his eyes. Only through unfair challenges can we continue to surpass ourselves and grow into stronger ones. Exist. Start. His voice echoed in the air, making people feel an inexplicable excitement. In an instant, and Qinliu turned into the wind and quickly attacked Chu Yi. Chen Chenghao turned into steel and rushed towards Chu Yi with an indestructible body. Ruiyu showed his power as a soul-based feather fan and came gracefully. Sun Dao summoned the Ghost Knight and rushed towards Chu Yi fiercely. And Yu Ting used her water attribute power to form a huge rolling wave and attack Chu Yi. Chu Yi was not panicked at all. He calmly responded to the attacks of the 5 people. Suddenly, he launched the God-killing spear technique, which was as powerful as a hidden dragon. God-killing spear technique. The first style, don't use hidden dragon. God-killing spear technique. Second style, see the dragon in the field. At this moment, Chu Yi exuded an unparalleled aura, as if there was really a hidden dragon swimming around him. With one blow, the momentum was majestic. The power of this move shocked the 5 people. They were suppressed by Chu Yi's momentum and couldn't help but feel fear in their hearts. It's such a strong momentum, it's still suppressed by rank 3 who is fighting us. 3 minutes passed slowly, but it was a very long time for these 5 people. At this moment, the 5 people were out of breath and could hardly stand still. Chu Yi glanced at them. He had really let go of this battle, otherwise none of the 5 of them would have lasted 3 minutes. He sighed in his heart, oh, is it only to this extent? However, he still said with a smile on the surface, congratulations on passing my test. After a long time, and Qinliu, Chen Chenghao, Ruiyu, Sun Dao and Yuting gathered together in Chu Yi's office, their eyes full of expectation. Chu Yi stood in front of them with a solemn expression and said in a solemn tone, next, I will lead you to a place to practice supernatural powers. This place is full of dangers, but it is also an excellent opportunity for you to improve your strength. However, I must let me remind you, it is extremely dangerous there and you may die if you are not careful. I saw that none of the 5 people flinched, and they all nodded, expressing their willingness to go. Chu Yi nodded and said, very good, let's set off now. An hour later, Chu Yi and the 5 others stood firmly on the broad back of the little shark, feeling its majestic form as it transformed into Peng. Its wings spread out, as huge as a black cloud. With a roar, the little shark spread its wings and flew high, speeding away to the north in an instant. The 5 of them were all shocked that their mentor showed such amazing abilities. Chen Chenghao said in surprise, teacher, are you a big rock? It's really amazing. Yu Ting said doubtfully, the mentor is not a summoning superpower, how can he still control strange beasts? This is simply unbelievable. Chu Yi explained to the 5 people, as long as you get the approval of the alien beast, you can obtain the power of the alien beast, and you can also summon it. But this requires opportunity and luck. The 5 people listened with rapt attention, and their hearts were full of curiosity and yearning. They couldn't help but begin to imagine how magnificent and shocking it would be if they could obtain the power of the alien beasts. Time passes slowly. Chu Yi and the 5 people finally arrived at the depths of the Arctic continent and felt the cold air and the world of ice and snow. The temperature here was extremely low, just like the ice and snow, but it was just right for the 5 people to practice supernatural powers. Chu Yi's eyes were firm and he said to the 5 of them, you will spend a year here. Here, you will face the harsh environment and hone your will and strength. I ask that you must reach rank 6 strength. The 5 people faced the frozen earth and felt the biting cold. And Qinliu couldn't help but shuddered, Teacher Chu, it's so cold here. Chu Yi's face was solemn and his eyes were cold and he said, okay, from now on I will not give you any help. This area is full of Arctic beasts. Also, if you die, then die. Don't expect it. I can save you. As soon as he finished speaking, his body flashed and disappeared like a bolt of lightning. The 5 people couldn't help but fell into chaos. They were in this ice and snow, isolated and helpless. Chen Chenghao opened his mouth wide and said in confusion, how is this possible? The mentor laughed like this. Yuting blinked her eyes and said thoughtfully, perhaps we should still rely on ourselves to find a way to survive. After all, the mentor seems to be someone who values strength and practical ability. Ruiyu followed up and said, yes, our most urgent problem now is supplies. I think we should hunt exotic beasts to get the food we need. At this moment, Chu Yi has arrived at the core of the Arctic. Standing in front of him was a white-haired man, handsome and tall. The white-haired man bowed respectfully to Chu Yi and said, "Welcome the Ice King to return." Chu Yi frowned slightly. He didn't know this person and asked, "Who are you?" The white-haired man replied solemnly, "Ice King, I am rank 9 Arctic Demon Wolf. This is what I look like after I transform. You can call me Little Wolf." Chu Yi nodded and said, "So, there are 5 people deep in the Arctic. They are my students. I sent some strange beasts to give them some experience. Just don't let them die." Xiaolong said respectfully, "Yes, Lord Ice King." "Yeah." Chu Yi nodded, and then came to the core area of the Arctic. He gathered the power of extreme ice and created an ice palace in this cold land. In this way, the ice palace built by Chu Yi in the core of the Arctic became his safe haven. "Ha ha ha, very good. When I destroy the Japanese country, I will come here. Who in the world can find me?" Chu Yi laughed. Suddenly, a burst of cold air surged out of Chu Yi's forehead and spread quickly like cold lines, making him feel a strange feeling that he had never experienced before. Chu Yi frowned in surprise and said to himself, "The ice pattern actually moved. And this feeling actually came from under the ice." He stared at the ice intently, filled with curiosity and doubt. When he stepped under the ice, the endless ice and snow stretched into the distance, and the vastness of the space was shocking. A hint of disbelief flashed in Chu Yi's eyes, and a question suddenly arose in his mind, is this another dimension? As his footsteps gradually approached under the ice, Chu Yi felt a biting cold breath coming over him, as if he was surrounded by a chill. "Impossible. I have never felt cold since I gained the power of extreme ice. I feel cold here. Unbelievable." His body instantly became stiff, and every inch of his skin seemed to be covered in frost. Cover. Chu Yi was extremely shocked by the sight in front of him. It was so pure, a pure world of ice, with a vast expanse of white ice and snow extending to the end, making it impossible to see the edge, like a frozen universe. Chu Yi said to himself, "I didn't expect there to be such a place in the Arctic." The ice patterns on his forehead shone with the light of ice, and the power of the ice condensed into lines of frost, filling the surrounding air. Chu Yi resolutely continued to move forward. The breath of ice became stronger and stronger. This time the power of ice was far more powerful than the last time. Even though he had the power of extreme ice, he felt unprecedented pressure and it was almost difficult to resist. Kunpeng form is activated. Chu Yi shouted, and instantly activated the Kunpeng form to resist the power of ice. Unexpectedly, the power of ice in this place is 100 times more terrifying than the core of the Arctic. If there is no extreme ice in the body, I can't even imagine that if you have the power. Even a rank 9 superpower would be instantly frozen into ice slag. It seems that this world is not simple. After a long time, Chu Yi finally reached the depths of the ice. A huge ice palace appeared in front of him, revealing the atmosphere of ancient history. Chu Yi stared at the ice palace, filled with questions. There is such a magnificent ice palace hidden in this underground space. What kind of people have lived here? This ice palace is like a miracle of ice, exuding a cold and noble atmosphere. The icicles stand tall and sparkle with crystal light, as if they are the testimony of time condensed. The quiet air is filled with a faint breath of frost. It makes people feel awe. He couldn't help but frown, and the ice lines on his forehead gradually became more obvious, like an ice dragon meandering on his skin. The palace door slowly opened, revealing a magnificent scene like an ice sculpture. It's so spectacular. Chu Yi was stunned. He couldn't help holding his breath and staring at the magnificent scenery in front of him. Everything in the ice palace is made of ice sculptures, and every pillar, every floor, and even every window radiates a stunning icy blue light. The soft light passes through the lines of the ice sculptures, reflecting charming shadows, like a fairyland. Chu Yi stepped forward cautiously, and the floor under his feet made a crisp sound. Suddenly, an extremely cold ice power instantly froze Chu Yi, unable to move. The intensity of this ice power was far greater than the extreme ice power that Chu Yi had in his body. How is this possible? I was completely frozen in an instant. A strong shock surged in his heart. Could it be the legendary Absolute Zero? Suddenly, Chu Yi felt a sharp pain in his mind, as if tens of thousands of sharp claws were struggling in his mind. He had a splitting headache. His eyes were full of pain, and the evil and gloomy voice became clearer and clearer, as if coming from the abyss. Ha 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 ha, after so many years, I finally found a perfect container. The voice mocked, full of cruelty. Chu Yi's eyes were wide open. He couldn't believe everything he heard, and his voice trembled as he said, "Who are you? How could you be in my mind?" The voice mocked and said, "Ha ha, I am a demon. The demon of ice, the most powerful existence in the world. I have longed for this body of yours for a long time." Chu Yi felt a chill rising from his spine, and his eyes flashed with determination. He did not want to be controlled by this so-called ice demon. Ice demon, what kind of monster are you? Why do you want to invade my body? Chu Yi's voice was full of determination and courage. The ice demon let out a burst of sinister laughter, with endless evil and trickery in his voice. Ha ha ha. What a fool, you haven't realized it yet. Everything in the Arctic was arranged by me, just to wait for someone. Let me seize the body of someone who is extremely talented. An icy chill enveloped Chu Yi's whole body, and his consciousness was gradually swallowed up by the ice demon, like a dark vortex swallowing up his thoughts bit by bit. His pupils began to gradually lose focus, becoming dull and hollow. Incomparable anger and unwillingness surged in his heart. He was not willing to end like this, and he was not willing to be swallowed by this ice demon. Never. I can never fall down like this. His voice was full of determination and determination. Evil energy will swallow you up. Chu Yi believed in the power of the god-killing spear, and the evil spirit had never let him down. The devil's voice was full of panic and disbelief. What is this? Impossible. How can there be such a terrifying power in the world? Ha ha ha, how can a mere demon understand the power of the god-killing spear? Chu Yi felt that the evil aura in his body was getting stronger and stronger. He knew that this was his last chance and he had to go all out. His whole body exuded the power of evil spirits, which burned like black flames. Chu Yi's crazy voice vibrated in his mind. Go to hell, ice demon. Your power belongs to me now. Evil spirits, devour. The ice demon roared, his voice harsh and shrill. Impossible. How can you possibly master this kind of power? This is impossible. I am not willing to accept it. Ah. An hour passed, and Chu Yi finally succeeded in swallowing the ice demon, and a cold air spread from his body. Chu Yi's voice was filled with excitement and a hint of fear, as if he had just experienced a life-and-death battle, and he murmured to himself, hoo, it's so thrilling. Is this the power of the ice demon? Chu Yi waved his right hand lightly, and a terrifying force appeared in front of him out of thin air. This force was filled with endless chill and destructive aura. It condensed the power of extreme ice that Chu Yi had before and surpassed its limit. The power of extreme ice is stronger than before, and it is also integrated with the evil spirit in my body. Chu Yi fell into deep thought. Countless questions emerged in his mind, slowly floating in his thoughts. Ice demon. I didn't expect that there is such a creature as a demon in this world. The doubts in my heart are getting stronger. What does the word devil mean? Are there other demons hiding on Blue Star, and what kind of disaster will they bring? Chu Yi's thoughts were like undercurrents that could not be calmed down. He couldn't help but begin to wonder if there were hidden demons in human society. Are those seemingly normal people possessed by demons? The truth in this world is hidden so deeply that Chu Yi felt a chill in his back. After all, the word devil never bodes well. Imagine that if Chu Yi didn't have his own powerful evil spirit, I'm afraid he would have been devoured by this guy who calls himself the ice demon. Oh, let nature take its course. Chu Yi sighed deeply. Then he resolutely continued to move towards the inside of the ice palace. A huge door appeared in front of him. Chu Yi pushed it open without hesitation and entered the depths of the palace. He was surprised to find that when he entered the ice palace, the scene before him shocked him, and the mysterious secret room was revealed in front of him. His eyes quickly swept around the secret room and found that it was filled with all kinds of information. Thick scrolls and ancient books are stacked together, exuding an ancient atmosphere. Every book is a witness to history, and every scroll is a treasure from the past. He walked into the secret room and touched the ancient books carefully. It turned out to be exercises. They were all ice-based exercises. Chu Yi flipped through the information with extreme curiosity, but compared to primordial origin Wuji Kung Fu, it's still too different. I just don't know if I can practice multiple techniques together. If my guess is correct, this is the secret room left by the ice demon after he took the body for himself. In addition, there was an exquisite box placed in the center of the secret room, which exuded a faint cold air. As he walked slowly, the ice lines on his forehead felt a strong sensation. Staring at the box with excitement, Chu Yi's eyes shone with anticipation. The ice patterns are actually sensing. Hee, ice demon, you gave me a big gift. He guessed in his mind that since this is the secret room left behind by the ice demon after taking away his body, so the contents inside the box must not be simple. Chu Yi gently opened the delicate box, revealing the scene in front of him, and his pupils shrank instantly. There is a piece of ice crystal placed in the box, which exudes a heart-stopping power of ice, as if it can solidify all existence. His hands trembled involuntarily, and he was irresistibly attracted to the crystal. This is... Chu Yi's voice trembled. He could hardly believe what he saw in front of him. It's more than 100 times more powerful than the power of extreme ice in my body. An impulse surged in his heart. An unquenchable desire. Chu Yi sat cross-legged, his body trembling slightly. He stretched out his palm and gently touched the ice crystal. Suddenly, a chill spread quickly from his fingertips throughout his body. The powerful and terrifying ice power poured into Chu Yi's body like a violent storm. He felt as if he was wrapped in an invisible energy, and the cold power was surging in his body. However, Chu Yi closed his eyes, and all his consciousness was integrated into the power of ice. The ice patterns on his forehead began to melt, and an endless power of ice spread along his body, like a carving knife. Carefully carving his body. His body gradually became pure and flawless, as white and transparent as ice and snow, making people want to touch it. The power of ice quickly spread to Chu Yi's meridians, and every meridian was filled with the power of ice. His meridians were as strong as icicles, flowing with cold frost, and exuding a refreshing breath. This power of ice made Chu Yi feel an unprecedented powerful force surging in his body. As time passed, he felt that the power of extreme ice in his body gradually sublimated. Half a month flies by. Chu Yi slowly opened his eyes, his ice blue eyes as clear as ice. His whole body was always exuding an icy cold air, and he said to himself, "Very good, although the realm has not improved, but the strength is much stronger than before. It's time to go and kill the beasts of the Japanese country." In an instant, Chu Yi's figure was like electricity, turning into a stream of light, transmigrating the shackles of ice and rushing up into the sky. He cut through the sky like a meteor, flying in the direction of the Japanese country without hesitation. At this moment, in the Japanese command center, Lieutenant General Shabi stared intently at the satellite image displayed on the screen. The screen clearly showed that Chu Yi was rapidly approaching in the direction of the Japanese country. Lieutenant General Shabi frowned, gritted his teeth and roared loudly, "Quick! That Chu Yi is here again. Send all troops immediately to kill him. Also, contact the International Organization of Superpowers immediately and ask them to come over for support." The subordinates immediately responded in unison, "Yes." Lieutenant General Shabi's order spread quickly throughout the command center like a current, and a tense atmosphere filled the air. At this moment, in the sky, Chu Yi was moving towards the Japanese country at great speed. His heart was filled with uncontrollable excitement. Where should we go to massacre this time? Tokyo. Well, just Tokyo. There are many people in Tokyo. Suddenly and unexpectedly, countless Japanese fighter jets flew towards Chu Yi like black clouds, covering the sky and the sun, and missiles and bullets poured down like a heavy rain. However, Chu Yi had a faint smile on his face, and a powerful force burst out from him, and a breath of absolute 0-degree ice froze all missiles and bullets. He mocked disdainfully, "Are these Japanese people all brain dead? Are they attacking me with this kind of hot weapon? Do they look down on me, Chu Yi?" At this moment, a group of Japanese supernatural beings dressed in black appeared from a distance, blocking Chu Yi's way. They have strong postures, sharp eyes, and exude a ferocious aura. Chu Yi's figure stagnated, with a mocking smile on his face. "Chu Yi, what do you dare to do again? Do you still want to massacre us Japanese people?" A tall superpower stood in front of Chu Yi, with majesty and anger in his voice. "Of course. Do you Japanese people still expect me to make friends with you? Chu Yi raised his head and laughed disdainfully. His laughter was full of arrogance and harsh sarcasm, as if he was mocking the entire Japanese nation. Strength, he showed an arrogant smile, and his eyes showed endless contempt. No matter who comes today, it will not help. I will destroy your Japanese city of Tokyo and turn it into ruins. The superpowers of the Japanese country gnashed their teeth and roared, Chu Yi, you are so crazy and shameless. Go to hell. Let's all come together to avenge us Japanese people. Chu Yi laughed loudly and said, with you Japanese beasts, I don't need weapons at all. With a snap of Chu Yi's fingers, a powerful breath of ice instantly surged towards the Japanese superpowers. In the chilly air, Chu Yi whispered, Absolute Zero. In an instant, the Japanese superpowers in front of him began to freeze one by one, as if frozen by time, and instantly turned into ice sculptures, slowly rising from the sky. Falling down, the spectacular sight is breathtaking. Too weak. Chu Yi laughed proudly, with a trace of disdain in his eyes. He suddenly saw this group of fighter jets launching missiles at him, huh? And you fighter jets, freeze them all. Then there was another crisp finger snap, and in an instant, there was a burst of absolute 0-degree ice. The aura emanates from him. Like a wind of frost, the group of fighters instantly froze into ice sculptures. Chu Yi. Ah, Chu Yi, how long have you come to our Japanese country to cause trouble again? Lieutenant General Shabi looked at this scene and could only be helpless and furious. Quickly kill this Chu Yi. The subordinates were silent. At this moment, in the United States, the headquarters of the International Organization of Superpowers, Leader Zeus is staring at the real-time picture transmitted from the satellite. The Black Snake has died in the hands of Chu Yi. Now Chu Yi has appeared over Japan again. Who is willing to kill him? Zeus's voice was calm but with a hint of command. A tall man stood up. His eyes were firm and decisive, and he said without hesitation, I'll go, Zeus. Chu Yi will die this time. Zeus stared at him, with a glimmer of approval in his eyes, go, Adam. At this moment, Chu Yi descended from the sky in the center of Tokyo, transforming into a god-killing gun, with the air of ice flowing around the gun. Different from usual, this time Chu Yi did not release a trace of evil spirit. He has only one goal, and that is pure killing. In the center of Tokyo, the bustling crowd was surging, and they all felt the arrival of Chu Yi. Exclamations came and went, spreading throughout the entire neighborhood like a tide. Run quickly, the god of death is coming. People screamed in panic. The devil is coming, run for your life. Someone shouted at the top of his lungs. Run quickly, he is the most cruel criminal in history. A voice of panic echoed through the streets. Chu Yi smiled cruelly, with an evil arc at the corner of his mouth, are you trying to escape? Ridiculous Japanese beasts. He held the god-killing spear in his hand tightly, exuding endless killing intent. Only pure killing remains. As he waved the god-killing spear, cold light shot out, buzzing like the soul-soothing voice of the god of destruction. Chu Yi's figure was like a ghost, shuttling between enemies like lightning, and every attack was fatal. Please, don't kill me, The Japanese beast's voice trembled. Before he could finish speaking, he was stabbed to death by Chu Yi. No, their pleas echoed in the city streets, filled with endless despair. Die, let's all die, evil Japanese beasts. Chu Yi looked crazy and waved the god-killing spear mercilessly. No, blood splattered, screams pierced the air, and fear and despair intertwined in the eyes of the Japanese beasts. Chu Yi, how dare you come to our Japanese country to massacre? Just as Chu Yi was killing, a thunderous roar echoed in the sky. Chu Yi looked up and saw a burly Japanese superpower rushing towards him. Oh, rank 9 Japanese beast. Chu Yi's eyes were cold and he said playfully, very good. It seems that today will not be so boring. The burly man said angrily, I am Anbei Jinju, the vice president of the Heavenly Sovereign Association. You, a member of the Dragon Kingdom who dares to invade our Japanese country, will die today. Heavenly Sovereign, very good. I was worried that you wouldn't show up. A sneer appeared at the corner of Chu Yi's mouth, with a sharp light shining in his eyes. Anbei Jinju ran towards Chu Yi without fear. His fists flashed with a faint red light, revealing a cold killing intent. He fiercely attacked Chu Yi, and every punch was full of shock. At the same time, Chu Yi held the god-killing spear tightly in his hand, preparing to face this menacing attack. God-killing spear technique. 6th style, dragon soaring 9 heavens. His figure jumped up like a dragon, and the god-killing spear drew a gorgeous arc in the air. A dazzling energy barrier suddenly erupted around Anbei Jinju, like a huge light curtain, instantly blocking Chu Yi's attack. Very good, Anbei Jinju, you have proven that you are more than just a beast. Chu Yi's eyes narrowed slightly, and his ruthless voice echoed in the air. However, at this moment, 4 rank 9 superpowers, that's great. Chu Yi was keenly aware of 4 powerful auras approaching his current position, and he became vigilant. You are so arrogant at such a young age. Today, I will definitely eliminate this scourge of yours. Anbei Jinju burst out angrily at this moment. Why are all the rank 9 superpowers of your Japanese country so useless? Chu Yi burst out laughing, his laughter revealing a kind of teasing and disdain, not caring about the threat of Anbei Jinju. Last time that guy the first killed, what was his name? I forgot, ha ha ha. Anbei Jinju's eyes flashed with crazy light, and he gritted his teeth viciously, seeking death. He launched ferocious attacks on Chu Yi again and again without fear. Chu Yi felt the terrifying power contained in Anbei Jinju's attack, but it was not enough. He held the god-killing spear tightly in his hand and waved it wildly, each wave bringing endless killing aura. HMPH. You 4 are hiding in the dark and don't dare to show up. Are all rank 9 superpowers so timid? Chu Yi snorted coldly. Suddenly, 4 creepy auras descended suddenly, as if pouring out of the gates of hell. A tall man stepped out, his hair shining with golden light, like a blazing fire. A graceful woman followed closely behind. She had enchanting green hair and was as charming as an elf in the forest. Then, a charming woman appeared, her hair draped over her shoulders like a purple waterfall, exuding a seductive light. Finally, a relatively simple man walked up to them. His black hair was like ink and he looked ordinary, but he hid a restrained and powerful aura. At this moment, strong men gathered together with a majestic momentum. Seeing the arrival of the 4 people, Anbei Jinju also stopped and walked behind the 4 people. Chu Yi glanced at the 4 rank 9 superpowers in front of him. He frowned slightly and asked, "Are you 4 rank 9 superpowers? Who are you?" "We are members of the International Organization of Superpowers." The blonde superpower was impatient and his expression was extremely arrogant. "You must be Chu Yi. I don't want to talk nonsense with you. Tell me, how do you want to die?" Chu Yi sneered and said, "Oh, just the 4 of you." Then, Chu Yi quickly performed the doppelganger technique, and 5 clones appeared beside him instantly. There is endless water mist surrounding the water body, and small water droplets are constantly rotating in the air. The ice clone is filled with cold air, like an ice god. The surrounding temperature drops instantly, and a thin layer of frost condenses in the air. Every cold ice crystal exudes an icy aura, as if it can freeze everything. There is a faint wood attribute aura surrounding the wooden clone, as if the life force of the earth is surging within the body, and every leaf on the body is full of vitality and lushness. The poison clone exudes purple poisonous gas, and the purple poisonous gas permeates the surroundings, emitting a terrifying poisonous mist. Lightning avatars were crisscrossed with lightning, and every ray of black lightning was like a bolt of lightning rising into the sky. Chu Yi looked resolute and said provocatively, "Come on. Let me see what the strength of the 4 of you is. I'm looking forward to it." It turns out to be clones with different attributes. Let's go. Get rid of these clones first. The blonde superhuman was slightly surprised. The blonde superpower shouted, and the 5 people rushed towards Chu Yi's 5 clones without hesitation. In an instant, the 5 clones also moved. The ice attribute clone instantly condensed the power of extreme ice into icicles and attacked several people. The thunder and water avatars quickly cooperated to emit astonishing thunder and water, forming a terrifying attack range. At the same time, the poison clone emitted deadly poisonous mist throughout the venue. The wooden clone kept waving the rattan in its hand, circling like a flood dragon, restraining the enemy's movements and making them unable to guard against it. On the battlefield, the power of extreme ice filled the air, water and thunder intertwined, water currents intertwined with poisonous mist, and vines swam like dragons, forming a spectacular and terrifying picture. The clones showed off their respective specialties and worked together perfectly. Chu Yi was also a little surprised. He thought about this move himself. "I didn't expect it to be so strong. It seems I don't need to use that move." However, the 5 rank 9 superpowers also showed unusually powerful abilities. The blonde man's body was like a blazing golden flame, and blazing energy surrounded him. He commanded, "Get rid of these clones first. He won't last long." The green-haired woman's body is constantly filled with vitality. No matter what kind of damage she suffers, she can recover quickly and is difficult to be completely destroyed. The purple-haired woman was extremely fast, moving across the battlefield like a bolt of lightning. Her figure flashed quickly like a phantom, making it difficult to catch her traces. And the man with a restrained aura was dancing with a sword in his hand, and every attack was accompanied by terrifying power. In an instant, Chu Yi's 5 clones started a fierce battle with the enemy. Every collision between them made a deafening sound, and the aftermath of terror filled the air. The blonde man was so shocked that his eyes almost popped out, and he said in shock, "How is it possible? How can Chu Yi be so powerful? He is only at the peak of rank 6, how can he reach this level?" The green-haired woman frowned, with a trace of helplessness in her tone, and said, "This Chu Yi, he only uses the amplification effect between the various attributes possessed by the clone to achieve such terrifying power." Chu Yi couldn't help laughing loudly and said disdainfully, "Ha ha, you might as well surrender. I think you rank 9 superpowers are nothing more than that. Chu Yi, you criminal. I will never let you leave alive today." Anbei Jinzhou's anger surged out like a volcano erupting. "Just you, Anbei Jinzhou." Chu Yi's voice was full of disdain. "Among the 5 of you, you are the weakest. The Japanese superpowers are really nothing more than that, they are just a bunch of trash. This battle has lasted for 3 full days, and high-rise buildings in Tokyo have collapsed one after another, as if a doomsday disaster is coming." At this moment, Chu Yi was out of breath, and his 5 clones were covered with scars. Fortunately, the tree of origin in his body was still continuously injecting his spiritual energy, and he could barely maintain the fighting power of the 5 clones. However, controlling the clones to fight also continued to consume a lot of energy and mental power in Chu Yi's body, making him feel mentally and physically exhausted. It is still too reluctant to deal with 5 rank 9 superpowers at once. Go and kill Chu Yi quickly. He can't hold on anymore. He's only at the peak of rank 6 and can't sustain such a high-intensity battle. The blonde superpower shouted loudly. "Just because you still want to kill me, you're thinking too much. I won't play with you anymore." Chu Yi snorted coldly. After saying these words, Chu Yi released his clone without hesitation, and his figure instantly turned into a blue-black stream of light, flying towards the Arctic continent. "Haha, I'm leaving. Come if you can." Chu Yi laughed loudly, and his laughter contained endless ridicule and provocation. "Hurry up, Chu Yi has escaped. We must kill him this time." The blonde man roared. The figures of the 5 people instantly turned into streams of light, and flew towards Chu Yi like lightning. Half an hour later, in the Arctic ice, Chu Yi's eyes looked playful as he faced 5 rank 9 superpowers. The cold wind howled, blowing his black hair messily and fluttering, as if it was integrated with the ice and snow of the Arctic. "Ha ha," Chu Yi sneered, with a teasing smile on his lips, "how dare you chase me here? It seems you still don't know your fate." The blonde man took a step forward, his eyes flashing with vigilance. "Chu Yi, the Arctic core will suppress all superpowers. If you escape here, you are simply asking for death. Ha ha, Chu Yi, do you think you can escape by running to the Arctic continent? Just wait to die." And Bei Jinju was furious. "I'm so scared. I want to see how you kill me in this Arctic continent." A strange smile flashed between Chu Yi's eyebrows, and he murmured in a low voice, "The power of ice evil." A powerful force of ice surged out. This is a mixture of extreme ice power and evil spirit. At this moment, in the environment of the Arctic core, their power is stimulated to several times its usual power. The blonde man shouted in horror. How could he be so strong? "I am a fire attribute user, how could I be frozen by ice?" Anbei Jinju gritted his teeth and roared, "Chu Yi, you deliberately led us here. You despicable villain. Impossible, he is only at the peak of rank 6, how could he have such a strong strength in the Arctic?" The green-haired woman's eyes showed disbelief. The purple-haired woman said with a pale face, "This Chu Yi seems to have obtained the power of Arctic continent. We must leave here as soon as possible." But that ordinary man turned around and left without hesitation, without a trace of nostalgia. HMPH. Do you still want to run? Die. Chu Yi sneered. His voice was like a biting cold wind, with a kind of ruthlessness and cruelty, and he shouted, Absolute Zero. Let them all die. A terrifying chill suddenly spread, and the absolute 0-degree transcendent level cold wind blew through the bodies of the 5 people. Rank 9 superpowers are just mediocre. The 5 superpowers were instantly frozen by Chu Yi. He smiled contemptuously. Haha, do you still expect to escape? From the moment I saw you, everything has been designed, and you are the important nourishment for me to improve my strength. Chu Yi couldn't wait to sit cross-legged, swallowing the power of the 5 people. 5 powerful forces surged into his body, washing away his body like a torrent. Golden Flame Attribute, burning with fiery energy. The Green Life Attribute contains vigorous vitality. Purple Speed Attribute, Gray Body Attribute. The black thing turned out to be the attribute of the soul, as deep and mysterious as the dark night. I didn't expect this ordinary man to be of the soul type. These 5 kinds of power flowed into Chu Yi's body continuously, like 5 rushing waterfalls, converging in his body. In an instant, 5 energy cores were formed in Chu Yi's body, like 5 bright stars, emitting dazzling light. Great. As long as I can successfully refine these 5 condensed energy cores, I don't know how strong I can be. Chu Yi slowly opened his eyes, and a blazing golden light burst out instantly. Just when Chu Yi was excited, there was a phoenix cry that penetrated the sky from the distance. Feng Qingyan stood on a fire phoenix with feathers burning like flames, like a fire god coming to the mortal world. Her long hair flowed like a waterfall, and her eyes shone like stars. She was in front of Chu Yi in an instant. Chu Yi looked at her, with a hint of confusion in his voice, and asked, Sister Qingyan, why do you suddenly appear here? Is there anything urgent? Feng Qingyan looked at Chu Yi, her eyes flashing with worry and uneasiness. She took a deep breath and said, Chu Yi, we are facing an urgent task. We must go to the Bear Country to support. A trace of surprise flashed in Chu Yi's eyes, and he said, Did something happen? I remember there seems to be a war over there right now. Feng Qingyan said with a hint of heaviness in her tone. This war between the Bear Country and the Wu Country is not simple. This time there is the intervention of Rank 9 beasts. Rank 9 alien beasts participate in human wars. How is it possible? Chu Yi's eyes instantly became solemn. Chu Yi also wanted to wait until he absorbed these 5 energy cores before going there, but after hearing this, Chu Yi changed. He had an idea. Okay. Let's go now. What about the other members of our Phoenix group? Ahem. Feng Qingyan cleared her throat, her tone a little awkward. Other members are currently performing tasks across the country. And I have more important things now. You can only go on this task alone. Chu Yi was stunned, thinking for a moment, and then said firmly, Okay, I am willing to go. You have to be careful and remember to keep in touch with me at any time. Feng Qingyan frowned, looked at Chu Yi's firm eyes, and nodded in her heart. Chu Yi nodded decisively, activated the Kunpeng form, and like a black lightning streaking through the sky, instantly flew towards the battlefield between the Bear Kingdom and the Wu Kingdom. Feng Qingyan watched Chu Yi disappear into the clouds and nodded with satisfaction, while she stood on the back of the fire phoenix, flew to the sky, and disappeared into the endless blue sky. At this moment, at the junction of the western part of the Bear Country and the Black Country, vicious dog-like beasts were raging like devils. Countless soldiers resisted bravely, and on the bloody battlefield, bright red blood splashed out like gushing spring water. Wearing the military uniforms of the Bear Kingdom, they roared against these ferocious beasts. The middle and low-level superpowers of the Bear Kingdom roared loudly, their voices full of anger and determination. They understand that only by eliminating this group of threats can the security of the Bear Country be protected. Kill these strange beasts. We must kill these strange beasts. Kill, we must not let them pass. They roared, their voices echoing across the battlefield. They used all their strength and vowed to eradicate these strange beasts completely. Yet even these brave warriors were despairing. On the entire battlefield, the number of alien beasts was so chilling that it was like waves of black tide. They were constantly swarming forward. The soldiers resisted bravely, but there seemed to be no end and no hope. It was a never-ending battle that made people feel hopeless. At this moment, there was a female superpower from the Bear Kingdom. Her golden hair fell like a waterfall, and her skin was as white as snow, as clean as flawless. Her smooth cheeks were filled with a healthy blush, reflecting her perfectly sculptured face. Her figure is graceful and tall, and every movement is as beautiful as a work of art. The silver-white tight-fitting combat uniform highlighted her graceful figure, and the convex curves in the front and back outlined her perfect curves. Whether it's strength or elegance, she displays it to the fullest. The spear gleamed in her hand, golden light shining. It is her sharp blade, the weapon she uses to fight fiercely with her enemies. Every wave was accompanied by a golden arc that cut through the air and brought a biting sound of wind. Her lightning speed and precision make her a slay queen on the battlefield. At this moment, her heart was burning with anxiety. Although she was invincible on the battlefield, she faced an endless number of alien beasts, and the pressure in her heart was as heavy as a mountain. When will the support from the Dragon Kingdom arrive? Our defense line, it's already in danger. Soon after, Chu Yi finally arrived over the battlefield. As Chu Yi arrived, his eyes were firmly fixed on the battlefield. Countless strange beasts gathered like dark clouds, as if darkness enveloped the entire sky, making people feel an oppressive and spectacular atmosphere. Chu Yi clenched his teeth, his eyes flashed with fanatical light, like a burning star, his heartbeat became faster and faster, full of desire and excitement for fighting. Very good, there are so many, I haven't been this happy for a long time. The battle. Chu Yi landed quickly, as if a black lightning flashed across the sky. The 5 clones of water, ice, wood, poison, and thunder scattered instantly. The colorless water vapor of the water body surges like waves. The white cold air of the ice clone floats away like ice and snowflakes. The green life breath of the wooden clone is like a flourishing forest. The poisonous clone's purple poisonous gas exudes a shuddering aura. The thunder clone's black thunder is filled with terrifying black arcs. The 5 clones are like 5 brilliant streams of light. Crazy attacks were launched everywhere, and each clone showed a unique attack method, like a magical dance of elements. Chu Yi's body was holding the god-killing spear in his hand, waving it wildly. Countless evil spirits seemed to flash at the tip of the spear as he danced. He turned into a black lightning-like figure, as fast as lightning and as fierce as thunder. The main body and the 5 clones mercilessly slaughtered the strange beasts on the battlefield. The blonde woman's eyes were as wide as 2 bright gems. She looked at Chu Yi's mighty appearance with an expression of surprise and shock. So strong. So powerful. Could this be the person sent by the Dragon Kingdom to support us? Great. We have hope. Chu Yi's eyes wandered around the battlefield, and finally discovered the figure of the blonde woman. Her tall figure showed unparalleled strength and elegance. Chu Yi couldn't help being attracted by her charm, but he immediately regained his composure and shouted loudly, "Are you the commander here?" "Yes, I am the commander here, Anna." The blonde woman smiled slightly, with confidence on her face, and then asked Chu Yi, "Are you the Dragon Kingdom superpower who is here to support us?" Chu Yi's eyes were locked tightly, with incomparable firmness and determination in his eyes, and he said without hesitation, "That's right, I am Chu Yi from the Dragon Kingdom. The situation is urgent now. Order everyone to step back as soon as possible. These strange beasts, I'll take care of it." Anna nodded slightly, her eyes shining with determination. She immediately ordered everyone to retreat quickly, with an elegant and decisive posture. She knew that this was the best time to retreat. She stepped forward, her steps steady and swift, and rushed towards Chu Yi quickly. There was no hesitation in her eyes, only determination to resist the beast tide. She said without hesitation, "Chu Yi, I'm here to support you." Chu Yi was stunned for half a second, with a trace of surprise on his face. This woman actually wants to help me. But then his thoughts became clear. Then you'd better not become a burden to me. Chu Yi chuckled, his tone revealing his calmness and rationality towards the battle. Anna also said confidently, "Don't underestimate me, I am very powerful." At this moment, Chu Yi's 5 clones were killing wantonly among the alien beasts. They were like ruthless reapers, and the death and blood on the battlefield filled the surrounding air. Endless evil energy, swallow it up. Chu Yi's thunderous roar resounded through the battlefield like thunder. Suddenly, a powerful dark aura emanated from his whole body, like a soul-eating ruin. The gorgeous Kunpeng battle armor holds the god-killing spear in his hand, and every decoration on his body shows his endless power. The moment Chu Yi rushed towards the group of alien beasts, the coldness on the god-killing spear condensed like ice and snow, freezing the surrounding air. Every swing was accompanied by a dazzling cold light, and the god-killing spear was like a ferocious poisonous snake, killing the alien beasts one by one. The alien beasts let out their final screams under Chu Yi's killing. The beasts tried to fight back, but found that Chu Yi was like an insurmountable mountain, with no flaws to be found. Every killing made Chu Yi gather more murderous intent, and his eyes became more and more determined, as if he had integrated into the origin of the battle. On the battlefield, Chu Yi's voice roared past like a strong wind. Every call he makes carries a thrilling power, inspiring his clones to fight until the very end. Their figures were like galloping cheetahs on the battlefield. Every wave brought up a bloody wind, shattering the lines of the alien beasts. Kill, 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 Chu Yi's voice echoed throughout the battlefield. He continues to accumulate killing energy. And Anna is not to be outdone. She is like a blooming lotus, elegant and beautiful. She held a golden spear in her hand, and when she danced, it was like a bolt of lightning streaking across the sky, shuttling among the alien beasts. Each wave brought up a golden light, illuminating the dark battlefield. Her figure was extremely swift, as if transformed by light. Chu Yi looked at Anna in surprise. The light emanating from her body flashed across the sky like a bolt of lightning, which was dazzling. This was the first time he saw a light attribute power, and it was such a powerful speed power. Chu Yi was a little shocked and thought, I didn't expect that Anna actually has a light attribute power. This is known as speed. The fastest power. Although Chu Yi was surprised by Anna's light attribute power, he did not pay too much attention to her. At this moment, his mind was completely focused on the killing in front of him. There were too many strange beasts in front of him, and he had to go all out. A day and night of killing passed, but Chu Yi found that a steady stream of strange beasts seemed to never stop coming. A strange stalemate formed between Chu Yi and the strange beast. They were restraining each other, like two huge forces constantly pulling against each other. Chu Yi refused to give in because he knew that only by persisting could he find a chance to break through. The alien beasts also refused to compromise. They smelled Chu Yi's aura and regarded him as the biggest threat. Chu Yi's brows were furrowed, with surprise and confusion in his eyes. His body trembled slightly, as if he was shocked by the incredible fact. What exactly happened here? Why are the number of alien beasts so alarming? He asked Anna in an undisguised tone, his voice full of urgency and confusion. Anna smiled bitterly and looked at Chu Yi's expression. She understood that he was shocked by all this and replied, I don't fully understand. When I arrived, alien beasts were already flooding into our country like a flood. Keep attacking us. We have been fighting hard, but the number of alien beasts is too alarming. Her voice revealed helplessness and anxiety. Chu Yi's eyes narrowed slightly, and his frown revealed the anxiety and uneasiness he was thinking about all the time during the battle. His heart was filled with what Feng Qingyan said, there was actually a rank 9 beast involved in this war, but why can't we see it here? What is its purpose? The expression on his face was solemn, as if looking for the answer, is this strange beast delaying time? But what is its purpose of delaying time? Suddenly, a flash of light flashed, and Chu Yi asked nervously, Anna, can you contact the war headquarters now? His voice was anxious and urgent, and his eyes revealed his desire for answers. Anna was stunned for a moment, and replied with a hint of confusion, of course we can contact you. What's wrong? She didn't understand why Chu Yi was so anxious, but from his expression and tone, she could feel the anxiety and tension in his heart. At this moment, Anna received shocking news, the Bear Country War Command was raided. Anna's eyes widened and she said in disbelief, impossible. The headquarters is guarded by rank 9 superpowers, how dare they act so boldly? Chu Yi frowned, stared at Anna, and asked in depth, Anna, do you know who the rank 9 superpower who attacked your headquarters is? There was a helpless expression on Anna's face, and she shrugged, well. It's the rank 9 superpower from Ukraine, and he calls himself the Clown. The current situation of the headquarters is quite optimistic, and it has not yet fallen into an excessively bad situation. Quote. Chu Yi nodded, expressing his understanding, and narrowed his eyes slightly again, thinking all the time during the battle, the superpower who attacked the headquarters is obviously not a rank 9 beast, so where is this rank 9 beast hiding now? Quote. In this way, Chu Yi and his 5 clones continued to slaughter the alien beasts on the battlefield. However, the number of alien beasts still keeps coming, like an endless tide. The situation on the battlefield has reached a stalemate. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe.